Hey, what's up, everybody? This is episode 66 of the Blur Podcast. Tonight, we have a special three-person panel going on. We have Darkside.
What's up?
Green Tuner.
Hello.
And myself, Creamcast. The Ed Underground unfortunately could not make it today. So what's going on with you guys? What's going on?
Well, let's cut to the chase.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
There's a good reason, kind of sad that the Ed Underground isn't with us today.
Yeah.
So if anyone's been following him, he's been streaming a lot of Sonic Frontiers. And he's been playing it so much so that right now as we speak, he's in intensive care for paint poisoning. He was trying to actually become Sonic.
Yep.
And it's deep into his brain. And right now he's going into a shock because he thinks he can do a spin ball, but he really can't.
Yeah.
So, send your prayers and your love.
Yep.
Hopefully, our boy Ed can pull through.
Yeah, and unfortunately, the Ed Underground, he didn't realize that paint, especially old paint, has lead in it. So he decided to paint himself blue, Sonic the Hedgehog, and decided to break into a nuclear facility to give himself radiation
Super
poisoning.
speed.
Yeah, super speed, and he wants to glow when he goes super fast. So everybody keep your prayers up for this poor guy. Hopefully he's going fast, but not in the way that he's thinking. He's going fast to an early grave, unfortunately. But the Underground, he was busy, could not be able to stream today. So unfortunately we had to do without him. I know you guys will be sad without his hot takes on the MCU and the Force is female, but I promise you next week he will return with all the hot social button takes on all our favorite franchises for sure.
Right.
Yes, it feels weird. I'm not gonna lie. It's just the three of us. Like, is this how you guys felt when I was gone? Like, I don't know. It just feels like a part of our soul is missing.
Yeah, we dropped the dead weight, and it feels lighter, more efficient.
Yeah, I don't know. It's super weird. It's like taking a massive shit and then you just feel like light. You feel better about life.
There's no better feeling after taking a massive dump.
Yeah, absolutely. So how was you guys this week? You guys had a pretty chill week? We had Thanksgiving.
We had Thanksgiving,
Thanksgiving.
Oh, shoot, yeah, Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
It was fine. Traditional Thanksgiving. Turkey, mac and cheese. Mashed potatoes.
Turkey, mac and cheese?
I'm trying to think what else we got.
He's like
We got a bunch of crab.
He's like super
stuffing.
traditional.
Right.
Yeah.
Nice.
Pumpkin pie is the whole deal. So
yeah, it's really crazy. Like you were saying, like traditional. I was like, just turkey and mac and cheese. Like, where's the rest of it?
Where's the rest of it?
Right. Super traditional.
Yes.
What about you, Darkside?
Cornbread too.
Cornbread.
Delicious
nice.
cornbread. Yeah.
Also traditional. It didn't get mac and cheese. I'm kind of pissed.
Yeah, probably. What is the? You guys had a big bowl of naan
turkey curry.
bread.
Yeah. Turkey curry.
Turkey rice. Turkey rice. Curry rice.
Turkey rice.
Yeah, curry rice and everything. I remember the last time when I went to your house, like literally stepping into your house. I think you said your mother had just got done cooking like the day before or something like that.
Yeah.
And it literally blew my face off with the amount of curry I smelt in your house.
Oh,
and
I was singe your eyebrows.
Yeah, I was like, holy shit. And you were like, no, like my mom just cooked. And I'm like, in my mind, I was thinking like this is the typical like Indian household where you come in.
No, that is the typical Indian household.
Yeah.
And
really?
like
Spices.
South Asian households. It's because you use aromatic spices. That stuff gets into the walls and it gets into your carpet. It don't go away. You could like you could have that little fan going over your kitchen that don't do shit. Not when it comes to South Asian cooking. So no,
the pipes just start corroding as the smoke comes up.
Yeah, for sure.
The paint is literally peeling off. I was like, I remember coming in and my nose just started burning. I was like, what the fuck? Like,
that's the price that's the price we pay though for
the spice,
yeah,
allspice.
Right. No,
I've had so many like hot dishes from America, like Nashville hot.
Right.
Like it's like what the like I can't tell you how many like hot sauces like off the counter I bought that are not hot but everyone's like, man, I'm dying here.
Yeah. I thought I could understand. Like, I thought what was it, Texas Pete? I thought that was hot back in the day, and so I tried.
Really?
I've tried some hot like Indian food in the past. My asshole was literally on fire. Like my mouth was on fire, and this is before people knew like to drink milk, like to get rid of the spice in your mouth. So I'm drinking water, and all I'm doing is flushing more spice like into my stomach, and my asshole was literally I can't describe how much pain I was in, and it just like if you fart. It just come out spicy. It was just, I don't know how you guys do it. I thought I could handle spice. I thought jalapenos were spicy until I tried some authentic Indian dishes. Yes, like you said, Southeast Asian. Yeah, there's nothing like when it comes to spice.
Yeah, I mean, there's some countries. Yeah, like what, India, Jamaica. Don't they also have really hot
like jerk?
Spices? There's like some super spicy jerk.
Yeah, well, they do that for like preservation, I think, in the back in the day, and like to make it taste like shitty food tastes really good. They had to kind of do that, but yeah, they have some hot food too, and
Thai. Have you ever had like really spicy Thai?
Yes.
Like if you go to a Thai restaurant, tell them I want it Thai hot.
Yeah.
And you won't be able to sit for a week because you'll be flushed out.
Yeah, and I used to it was funny with my old coworkers, what we used to do like during the winter time when we got like really cold or if we got sick, we just go to like a Thai restaurant. It would clear out your sinuses so damn quick.
Oh, that's the first thing that comes out.
Yeah, because all that snot just comes out and you're just sniffling, trying to be like, oh yeah, it's so good, while your mouth is literally like a flamethrower is going off in it. Like, oh man, it's delicious. But then you see the old like Thai lady like sitting across, like literally just eating this, like putting more sriracha, like pouring a whole bottle of sriracha and everything else.
Yeah,
and they got some special sauce in the back only for her.
Yeah, there's like an oil-based sauce that's not sriracha.
Yeah,
that they put
hot chili oil.
Hot chili oil.
Yeah, it's my god. Yeah, it's so good, but it burns like hell.
Yeah.
Wait, Darkside, quick question.
Yeah,
because I'm not familiar. So like Middle Eastern food, is it spicy or just like more fragrant?
Yeah, Middle Eastern food is not as spicy.
Spicy, right?
Okay. Yeah, it's not. I mean, it has a good amount of spice, but it has like fresh spices in it, so it's more like
more like herbal. I'm thinking of. Yeah. Okay.
If you want like dense spices, then it's like India, and then like the South Asia,
Pakistan.
Pakistan, even like South China and all those places.
Oh yeah, I totally forgot about China. China is so big. Yeah, they do have some crazy sauces in there.
It goes back to that spice trade, man. Back in the day, that road that brought in. That's where you got all these cultures like swapping spices and different things. So yeah, for sure.
I'm not gonna lie, my stomach is kind of bubbling just talking about all those damn spices.
Just think of all the sweet spices.
Yeah. I remember back in the day. I tried like sweet chili sauce, whatever, and I'm like, oh, this is what I thought it was sriracha. And I was like, oh yeah, this is what you guys are talking about that's hot? I'm like, man, this ain't hot. Sriracha ain't hot. They're like, that's not sriracha. Like, you're just having sweet chili sauce. I was like, oh, well, give me sriracha then. I was like, I'm thinking it's just like regular ass hot sauce. I'm like, oh shit. Yeah. I poured way too much. I poured it in like it was regular hot sauce. Like regular hot sauce I'm fine with. Especially like, chicken and so forth. But
I don't know. Sriracha was never really like, it's hot obviously, so I do get spicy, but it's not as bad as like a habanero sauce or something like that.
Oh yeah, habanero sauces.
Yeah.
Have you guys ever done the hot ones?
The hot ones?
No, they're sauces.
Yeah, the sauces you can get from Hot Ones.
No. I like to preserve my butthole as much as possible.
Yeah.
I mean, I also I don't see like I find it
there's
amusing
no joy
when people.
in it.
Yeah, there's no joy in it.
Yeah.
You have to eat, for the joy, but like people do it for the challenge, and it's just like, what is the point? Why are you doing this?
No, I'm with you. When I like spicy stuff, is because I love the flavor of the spices.
Yeah, what it adds.
I don't like non-flavorful. Like what? There's one sauce. I forgot what it was, but in the back of the label, it said you can also remove like paint, oil stains from your driveway with the sauce or something.
Shit.
Anyways, this sauce was so hot, it's ridiculous, but there was no flavor. It was just pure heat. And then at that point you're just suffering without, tasting anything.
Yeah, that's not for me. I'm the same way. I like it for the flavor. If it's just to cause pain, I'm not with that. Back in the day, I used to be like, oh yeah, I'm tough and I'll handle it, and I would do like really like spicy food just as a challenge.
Yeah.
But me in my older age now, I'm like, I need to preserve my intestines as much as possible, and I do not want to get have heart palpitations. Like there's like that hot food that literally like makes your heart beat more, like you're sweating.
Oh yeah, you start sweating really bad.
Yeah, I don't want to go through that.
I've experienced that only once in my life, and it was when my uncle took me in India to a place that he would eat, like in the old city, and we ate a soup. Then all this place made was this one soup. They didn't make anything else. They just made this one soup, and when you describe it, it's like it's made out of like intestines, and like it has like all these other like entrails and like it's a soup that's made out of that kind of stuff,
right?
But it's also densely packed in with these spices, and that's the only experience I've ever, like, it's ingrained in my mind when I have like I say I eat spicy stuff all the time. I'm like cool with it. That is the true Indian spice. Like say I had to go there to try it, and I think I blacked out. I don't remember much. Like I remember like when like you sweat and like everyone like I don't know how you guys like. Every guy's a little bit different. Like people sweat in a different way.
Right.
I don't sweat. Like, like when I'm like, when in high school, when you did gym and everything, I never really sweat. I never was one of those guys that just perspired a lot. That day, I discovered I can sweat, and like I discovered like where it like it's the top of my head that does it for me. Like, so that's when my like awakening happened. Like, oh my god, I'm human.
Yeah, right. He thought he had like superpowers this entire time.
My uncle brought me down a peg. Like, all right, welcome back.
That's when it was bad, when the top of your head starts sweating. I've had like really spicy food where like the crown, like literally the back of your head starts sweating, and I'm like, I'm in, like, oh shit, I'm in trouble. And then that's where you bust out the Pepto-Bismol. You try to bust out as much as you can because you gotta get ahead of it. Because if those spices, I never understood like why like spices burnt so bad on the way out, but I found out quick fact. I don't know if anybody who knows this, but your ass, like your anus, is lined with the same cells, like the same like kind of tissue like your tongue is. So that's why they say spicy on the way in and spicy on the way out, because your anus can literally feel, like it could taste the spice.
Almost. I thought it could taste.
Okay. No, it can. It's not like you can sit there like.
So every time we take a dump, we're just tasting shit.
Yeah, like. But the spices, it has the same reaction as on your tongue as it is in your anus. So that's why it burns on the way going out. That's why like going through your system, you really don't feel it after it gets past your stomach. But
because of the nerve endings.
Or
whatever it is.
It's not the same lining. But when it comes out the butt, it has the same.
That's what it reconnects. Yeah.
That's why.
Interesting.
Yeah, absolutely.
I guess it would make the most sense since it's our only two direct openings, right? Aside from the ears, I guess.
Ears, your penis and urethra and vaginal canal.
What the hell, nature? Why is it just the one side, one other end? Then
it's like
what's the evolutionary advantage of having like taste sensors?
Shut up, that's what. God's like, shut up, that's what.
You guys are sins. Now you gotta taste it on the way in and the way out.
Yeah,
this is your divine punishment.
I think that was God's way
because it's funny
not to eat spicy food.
Or don't coach your junk and spices and have sodomy or something like that. That's like to stop it from happening. It's so weird. There's a lot of weird things with our bodies. Like Like, why do we taste stuff like that, spices on the way out? That's so weird, and that's why I try to stay away from spices overall because, goodness gracious, like I'm just like I'm not gonna lie, I'm a sucker now. I like I said, like have you guys ever done the one chip challenge? Or have you seen people who've done
No,
that?
I don't want to.
No, I don't ever want to do it.
Yeah,
like, my wife wanted to do it, and I'm like. I'm like, no.
It looks disgusting. Have you ever seen the actual chip out of the bag?
Yeah, it looks horrible.
It's one gigantic chip, right?
Yeah, but it looks like, look at the chip. It is so unappetizing. You'll gag before you even like your senses come into play.
And then you can't, like they say, like when you touch this chip, do not like rub your eyes because all that oil,
you'll pull those spices.
Oh yeah, and like I see people like pranking people, like, hey. We're not even pranking people. Well, one guy, he did a Friendsgiving, and he put one spicy chip, the world's hottest chip in there, and had like tortilla chips all mixed in. So you didn't know what you got until you put it into your mouth. So you see everybody just like, grabbing one chip. Some people were grabbing like 3 chips, like a roulette. And then you see the one guy put the chip in. He's like, yeah, fuck it, I could do this. And then he grabs the chip, and then you just see it register in his mind like, holy shit. Like he obviously didn't realize he got the one hot chip. And like he started gagging, throwing up and so forth, because this is really bad. But then I see people like going up to like homeless people and be like, hey, I'll give you $100 to eat this one chip. And the homeless person's like, sweet, $100, hell yeah. They get the chip. And I'm like that's so, to me, that's cruel. That's cruel.
Yeah, that is.
That is very cruel.
Yeah, very cruel. Yeah. Like, yeah.
But you are, improving the economy. By
Okay.
Yeah.
That's someone here loves
technically a stimulus.
Here's stimulus check. Here you go.
That's a stimulus for sure. Yeah, that bomb is gonna put it right back in the economy, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's horrible, absolutely horrible. So, I just I would never do the one chip challenge ever. I just why put yourself through pain like that? That's absolutely bullshit crazy. But anywho,
yeah, for sure.
Anywho, I guess we can go ahead and we can start kicking off into our main topics. Unless you guys have anything else you want to discuss, like big news that have happened recently. Are we still on Kanye watch? On Ye watch?
Oh yeah,
I think we'll be forever on Kanye watch
the news
sometime.
Yeah, well, we had Ezra Miller watch, and so far,
Ezra Miller watch. Miller time is what we called it.
Miller time,
yeah. Miller time,
So all the 17, 16-year-old allegedly are safe out there. No more.
He's gone dark. He's gone dark for a while.
He has gone
if
dark.
You're a Native American preteen,
yeah,
was it teen?
It was
teenager.
Whatever.
Pretty much.
Yeah, you're safe for now.
You're safe.
Yeah. We're code yellow, so we're in the
we're
against potential grooming.
Yeah.
Potential grooming.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
Yes, allegedly.
But now we're on the Ye watch now.
Ye watch
is coming is getting to a crazy point where Donald Trump is looking like how the hell do you make Donald Trump look like a good guy at one point and then make him look like a bad guy? And all he did was have dinner with you.
Yes.
I don't know if you guys heard the news about Kanye had a dinner with Trump at the Mar-a-Lago.
Quite a dinner only he can have. What'd you put on the guest list? All right, boom.
Yeah, you have Kanye West.
You can't have normal people ever.
Yeah. Then,
but did you know Kanye's posse who was in it?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Apparently, Nick Fuentes, which is
Nick Fuentes.
Yes, he was.
Let's explain really quick who Nick Fuentes is to the people.
Okay, so Nick Fuentes is a alt-right, pretty much a white supremacist.
He checks all boxes. Yes, let's just say
all the boxes, like everything.
All boxes are checked.
Like everything, like people,
Holy
accuse Trump of being. Nick Fuentes is literally the embodiment.
He openly and happily encourages and promotes.
Right, and he. So allegedly, he came to this dinner or photobombed a photo with him and Kanye, and everybody, like the internet went crazy. Like, who's this random white guy in the back? So a lot of people don't know who Nick Fuentes is because he's more of on the YouTube like political spectrum, and more social commentary. And so a lot of people didn't know who he was, but once they found out who he was and his affiliations, it kind of just started a whole shitstorm. It's like the perfect storm of getting like, I mean, only person that you could add that could have made any worse was Marjorie Taylor Greene. Like that's the only person.
Dead Neanderthal. Yeah.
Or have Saddam Hussein jump in or something like that. Like you couldn't get worse, like a worse group of people into a room at all in like the past 10 years or 20 years than these three.
Let me bring this the clan. Where's the Ku Klux Klan Grand Dragon?
The Grand Dragon in there.
Right? Exactly.
Like, at David
as
Duke,
my media manager.
At David Duke, and he was like, if you have like the clan actually catering the event, that's the only way it can actually get worse. Like it just blows my mind that it's just like Kanye has been on such a downward spiral, at least recently in the eyes of the media. Recently, and the fact that this Nick Fuentes person shows up at a Trump event and they're all together having a conversation. Kanye's talking about, hey, I want to run for 2024. Put me on your ticket as your VP.
And no, he offers Trump his VP,
the vice president.
I thought,
he offered Trump.
That's
he
why
said
Trump
he wanted Trump to be his VP.
Oh, of course, Trump is not going to go from being the president to not being the VP. Are you crazy? Under Kanye? Oh, okay. I thought it was different that Trump was like Kanye wanted to be.
Do you not
Trump's
understand
VP?
the level of egos that have come together here?
Right.
Like nobody's on the same level of reality at all.
What happens when the immovable meets the
unstoppable?
The unstoppable.
Yes.
That's basically what's happening right now.
Yeah. Right. And now,
one of them brings his Nazi friend.
And then brings the one person,
his openly Nazi friend.
Yeah. Openly white supremacist friend is absolutely just mind-boggling. Now, I've listened to like certain things from Nick Fuentes, and I mean his argument is like he's not like one of those people like I hate black people and so forth. He just thinks like, hey, there's white people. I want to have a separate area for white people. I want to preserve being white, which is fine. Like, hey, if that's what you want to do, I'd rather have you be open about it than being secretly about it. But the fact that like of all things, like I just like Kanye, please, like. You were the people's hero. Like you were the college dropout. You were what people looked up to. And now this is going into like, you're literally going into a death spiral at this point. Where even your ex-girlfriend is being more pro, I don't want to say pro-black. That's maybe not the correct way to say it, but being more pro for the people than you are. It's just kind of mind-boggling. And I just like this whole Kanye watch. I'm just wondering like what else can he do at this point? Like other than actually run for president, like there's nothing you can do and run like as an alt-right politician. There's nothing else he can really do at this point.
What you think he will actually go the whole way and run?
Didn't he run last time?
No,
he doesn't have to win. He just has to run.
He missed the deadline.
Yeah, he missed the deadline.
Oh,
he said the deadline to get on the ballot.
Go for it.
Well, he said people talked him out of it. He said people talked him out of it, and then he decided to. Now he's like, no one's gonna talk me out of it. I am going to run for sure this time. So we'll see what happens.
I can't wait for the Republican primary. I cannot wait to see like Donald Trump and Ron DeSantis and Kanye West.
And Kanye West.
Yeah, like and that's funny.
We're gonna be living in what a weird world.
Yeah.
What a time! What a time to be alive.
Yeah,
a musician and Guantanamo torturer, all three in a debate stage is gonna be
for our next
insane.
Yeah, for the next Republican Republican bid, it's absolutely crazy because everybody was like, I've been listening to some of the politics behind with Ron DeSantis, and everybody was saying like, hey, there's no way that Trump can beat this guy. This guy is the new face of the Republican Party. But now with Kanye, that's just the wild card. You just don't know what's going to happen. If I'm a Republican, I have nothing to lose. I'm going to go vote for Kanye because at this point, like he's unhinged. The only thing that scares me is like, would Kanye start a war? I don't think so.
Yes.
Do you think he would?
Yeah.
Yeah, Israel better watch out. That's all I'm saying.
Watch your back. Yeah, but he's not gonna go to actual Israel. He's just gonna go to Hollywood and go and start.
He's gonna nuke Hollywood.
He's gonna nuke Hollywood at this point.
Yeah,
Hollywood and New York. Then
Hollywood, New York. Yeah, it's gonna be crazy. So, Yeah, so now with the Yay Watch, we'll keep you guys informed of anything crazy that happens. Like I said, Ezra Miller, the Miller Watch has gone dark for the time being.
Yeah, Miller time is safe now.
Well, Warner Brothers,
certain young ladies.
Well, I think Warner Brothers is going to. Warner Brothers has got him straight. Warner Brothers is doing some major I would say not remodeling, reorganization right now. So I feel like somebody at Warner Brothers is putting down, the backhand on them, like, hey, we're paying you a lot of money, get your shit together. Like, don't embarrass us. Recently, the
Rock, that is not gonna work.
The
thing that is not gonna work.
It's not gonna work. Maybe long term, but short term, I think it could work. It's not gonna stop me from watching The Flash.
I don't see, like, we got 2 years here till the next election. You think there somebody at Warner Brothers is gonna be like, I got this guy for 2 years? There's no way. Well, you don't even have him for 2 weeks. Warner Brothers.
We're gonna have to see. We'll check. We'll see what happens. We'll see how it actually transpires. I just think that because recent news came out. There's some major changes that have been happening. The Rock recently came out and said that Warner Brothers at first, like, because Black Adam hasn't been in talks for quite a while. He said the only way that he was going to do Black Adam is if Henry Cavill came back as Superman. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. And he said that Warner Brothers was completely against Henry Cavill coming back. But because they want that Rock money, they said, okay, well, whatever you want, Rock, as long as we can sign you for these movie deals, we'll bring Henry Cavill back. So I'm saying all these things like, well, Warner Brothers is obviously listening to somebody with some common sense, and they probably have somebody who's keeping Ezra Miller off of all reservations, keeping him away from
literally off the reservation,
like making sure that he's fine, allegedly
of certain casinos.
Yeah, certain casinos. He can't go anywhere in the middle mid US whatsoever. So I think Warner Bros. Might be doing a good thing. So we'll see what happens in the future. But I think this is
we've already seen an example that you can't control crazy.
You can't control crazy. Right, that's true.
You can't control crazy. We have prime example. We're just talking about it.
Well, they got rid of Amber Heard out of Aquaman, Poops McGee, allegedly. They have Warner Brothers has a lot of crazy people, so I think Warner Brothers is probably
allegedly.
Allegedly.
Warner Brothers seeks top talent, right? Sometimes top talent is very volatile, and there's nothing. You got high risk, high reward. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. That's a big.
Unfortunately, reward has been elusive to Warner Brothers. Going in for the risk all over the place.
Just all risk.
Listen, they just need to go. Yeah, exactly. All risk.
No reward.
No reward. All risk, baby.
Yeah.
They need to have Roman Polanski direct the next DC movie. For sure. See.
Absolutely.
How much risk it.
Teen Titans.
Teen Titans.
It has all risk. All risk.
Young Justice, but Roman Polanski.
No. God damn it.
Anyway. Yeah, but man, it's a crazy time we live in. Literally, people have said that for many years. I doubt any generation has actually been able to, prove it like we have. It is literally crazy. Crazy presidential nominees, crazy entertainment personalities, crazy billionaires running around doing things, crazy dictators. Crazy town. I don't know.
It is absolutely crazy.
Crazy World Cup.
I feel like we're just rolling the World Cup every day.
Iran wants the U.S. kicked out of the World Cup because of the fact that they changed their flag to show in solidarity with protesters. Yeah, I'm like, I don't think that's gonna happen. One and two, I don't think that most people are gonna be saying it against.
I don't know if Iran has as much juice as Iran thinks it has.
Yeah, I don't think people are gonna be like, you know what, Iran, we stand behind Iran. I don't think most. I don't think they thought
right now the trend is not in their favor.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So I don't think they have. I don't think they have much clout as they think they do in this situation.
Well, maybe they felt good about that claim because they would. You're not allowed to wear rainbows in the stadium.
In the stadium, sure.
Like they were, yeah.
Yeah, you're not supposed to. But the thing is like, I mean, at the end of the day, what is Iran going to say right now? The reason why, and the big thing about for Iran, I don't know if you guys heard, and it's very sad that they're set to execute like 14,000 protesters.
Holy moly!
It's like 11,000 protesters they're going to execute.
Iran?
Yeah, Iran. So that's what they changed the flags as for solidarity for all the Iranian protesters. So,
yeah, there's a lot of people imprisoned right now.
Yeah,
like over 400 people have been killed in the protests.
Oh God, that's horrible.
Yeah, so that's why I'm just
all these people death sentenced now.
Yeah, they're death sentenced at this point, and it's just like, Iran doesn't have much of a foot to stand on this situation. Now, granted,
they're trying to wave their finger.
Yeah, like, oh, we're the moral police at this point. Like, not gonna happen. But what else? So what other news happened recently? Oh, so big somebody was talking about World Cup, was complaining about the England and US game being 0-0.
Oh yeah.
They're like,
good for the US.
This is only sport where you get the same result as if you didn't play at all. And I was like, yeah, that's kind of a fair point. A fair point for sure. But what else?
Yeah, tie. I mean, the tie is a tie. That's still something.
Yeah, no, and the fact that the U.S. kept it a tie against England, that's
It is a little disappointing that every U.S. has just tied every game they've played. They've not.
Tell me about it. Mexico hasn't won a damn game.
Yeah, it is. It's been a very weird World Cup.
Though. Yeah, the North American continent is not doing well.
Yeah, didn't it? What was it? Was it India that beat Argentina?
It isn't. No, it's Saudi Arabia.
Saudi Arabia. I'm sorry. Yeah, Saudi Arabia.
Saudi Arabia, which is
that was a great game. That was
Japan,
a great game.
Germany. Japan actually beat Germany. That's insane.
Yeah. It's insane.
Yeah, there's some weird things. Yeah,
it's a weird World Cup for sure. But the cool thing about Saudi Arabia is that the fact that they beat Argentina, they gave them a national holiday for that. I was like, gave them like a 2-day holiday.
Saudi Arabia?
Yeah, they gave them a 2-day holiday.
I mean, it's a big deal if you beat like Argentina. That is a big deal.
Yeah,
they're a World Cup champion, a former World Cup.
Fucking Messi's on that team.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I mean, it's a big deal.
Maradona was Argentina.
Yeah.
But in this current one, Messi.
Yeah, but think about the United States. If we had beat them, you know what would have happened? Nobody would have known about it.
Nobody would have cared.
Nobody would care. It wouldn't have been on front page.
Yeah.
It would make front page.
If the U.S. would beat them, U.S. is at least a little bit more of a contender on than Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia is like out of a far fringe field possibility. So I mean, I think that's happened before. Who's that one team that beat Brazil? Was it Cameroon or? It was one team that beat Brazil that was also.
I know you're talking about. I can't remember. Yeah. It was. If you had bet on that game, you would probably be an instant billionaire.
It was a crazy odds on those.
I forgot. Yeah, it was. Yeah, I remember hearing about. I just can't remember the team. Weird World Cup for sure. I don't know. What other big things? Oh, Game of the Year, God of War 3. Or not God of War technically 5.
No agenda here.
No agenda here.
No agenda.
I'm not a Sony fanboy at all.
No shill.
It's not like they paid me for it or my Thor hammer.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah, you peasants. I've been playing God of War.
You are justifying the purchase. That's all you're doing right now.
It's definitely coping. I'm coping right now.
That's Game of the Year.
Yeah, Game of the Year easily. It has to be. Please. Phenomenal game thus far. I am shocked that this game, that the studio actually thought at one point.
I am not. I've criminally
neglected.
Neglected.
No,
criminally neglected.
Yeah, criminally neglected playing God of War, so I'm not where I need to be. I've been negligent for sure.
Yeah,
with my responsibilities.
I literally just started playing last night, and I was playing League of Legends.
Oh, you just started?
I just started, and I got through
what that game just that first chapter is just it just does not stop. I'm like, where's the lull?
Yeah, I really like the first 2 boss battles. I was like, what the like I was really trying to go to bed. It was like 1:30 in the morning. I'm trying to go to bed, and all of a sudden this big ass boss battle happens where I'm getting knocked into the sky. I'm like, holy shit. Like, and my wife's like, Eric, time to go to bed, let's go to bed. Like, you said you're gonna be in bed. I'm like, baby, I'm playing God of War, shut the hell up. And I did go to bed shortly after. But yeah, that game is all gas, no break. I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying it. Like, I got off work today. And like I was going over like overtime on work. I'm not getting paid for it, of course. I'm just sitting there listening to my coworkers, and I'm like, yeah, guys, I gotta go. Like, I gotta go. I gotta play some God of War. Like, I'm not getting paid for this shit. Like, and I'm just like, yeah, I just started playing God of War. I've been playing for the past couple hours, but I'm one of those people that play like a lot of side quests. Like, I don't just try to go straight through the game. Like, I'm really trying to enjoy the experience. So yeah, I'm going through side quests, and it's cool. Like, the game is like, hey, you can either do the side quests or you can do the main story. Pick and choose what you want to do. I'm like, fuck it, side quests all the way. So I spent the last couple hours doing side quests and neglecting the main story because I'm just enjoying it so much. So game of the year.
You gotta get your value on that hammer, man. Don't worry about it.
It sounds like I'm sorry, I can't hear peasant. That's why all I'm hearing is broke. I regret not getting a hammer. That's all I'm hearing. So yeah, kiss my ass.
Nah, I'm not. Screw that hammer. I don't need it.
But yeah. Other than that, any other topics we want to touch on before we jump into the main event?
There is one major thing that happened. I don't know how familiar you guys are, but Bob Iger was reinstated as CEO of Disney, and that's a big deal because he presided over Disney's, like, all the major things you remember about Disney last few years: acquisitions, Star Wars, Marvel, 20th Century Fox. A lot of decisions were under Bob Iger. He like presided over this like golden age. Pixar. I mean, he did tons of things since the 80s. And then he kind of stepped down. I don't remember why. Feels like it was some kind of force out, but he stepped down, and he was replaced with a guy right before the pandemic, and Disney stock just has been on a downward spiral. People have been pissed off with the parks. People have been pissed off with certain, if Ed Underground was here, there's certain trends in movies that people have associated with the downfall of Disney. So across the board, MCUs, across the board, Disney has been taking it. So, but I mean, I think profits are up for Disney. It's just like it's not like it could be doing a lot better. But when shareholders start feeling it, then you see some change. So Bob Iger was reinstated out of surprise, like a surprise out of the blue. He came back. They reinstalled him as CEO, and he's a lot of people are expecting Bob Iger to do a lot of things. There's been a lot of talk about him, so we'll see where that goes. I think Disney just has too many pants. Like it's trying to do too many things, and fans expect it to cover all the bases. It's hard to recover from a pandemic, and I mean, just how do you do that? It's especially with something that big. But Bob Iger, man, he's a legend for sure. So, but yeah, I think that was pretty huge news in entertainment world.
Well, you guys heard about that new Disney movie that came out, and I forgot what it's called. The Strange
Center of the
Planet
Air, or no, Strange Land.
Strange Land,
Strange Land or Strange World.
Yeah, how it's projected.
World,
it's projected to lose $100 million, and this is like the first movie. They said this is like the first movie in like 2 decades that has ever performed so badly on with a Disney franchise, which is surprising. Because
this is the worst Thanksgiving weekend in 30 years, apparently, at the box office. This is like historically bad.
Yeah. So that this is, if you're saying Bob Iger is coming back, he's definitely inheriting somewhat of a mess. I don't necessarily know what
he also created a lot of messes if you look him up. So he just presided over a lot of good times. So that's all I.
Well, the funny thing is that when you do something very well, people will forget, or people will forgive a lot of your shortcomings. So, like the Marvel acquisition, for the most part, that's a good thing.
Marvel acquisition was like he got it
when I showed you guys the chart, right? Remember, I showed you the chart of how much money Disney has made since acquiring it. Like they acquired it for what? Like
he acquired, he acquired Marvel
for like 12 billion, and they got 90
nobody
billion.
knew it would become. I don't even think their best estimates predicted where Marvel would end up being, like how dominant it would be. So I mean, he's praised for a lot of like cool decisions he made, but Star Wars, like a lot of the Star Wars things that people hate, he also presided over that. He set all the pieces up. He put people in position. But I don't know. But like Disney's so like, there's no way you can make everyone happy, and there's no way that you can run a business in a world where everyone looks for every like possible angle on everything. So I mean, they got to survive. Their business, and I don't know, but it's I don't envy that guy, but he's probably the best guy for the job. He knows that business very well.
Yeah, no, I agree. Cool. So we'll see what the future of Disney. If Disney, I think will survive. Obviously to survive. It's just it's obviously gonna be surviving. But how profitable they're gonna be in the next couple of years? I mean,
I will also say they will be very profitable.
I mean, not profitable. I mean, I think maybe some of the
creative.
Best years,
it's their creative endeavors that is like either they're going to lean into just franchise labels and just try to just become repetitive, or they will recapture what made them successful for over hundreds of years, or however long Disney's been around. Over 100 years.
Over 100 years, yeah. I was saying that maybe their best years. Hopefully, their best years are not behind them. Because as we jump into our main topic of Star Wars related content, I definitely have some thoughts on some additional stuff of Star Wars. Now that Disney has acquired them, they definitely have some cool stuff going on in the background. Whether it becomes whether it becomes realized within Disney and live action universe, or even the animated universe, will remain to be seen. But hopefully, I hopefully the best years are not behind them, and we get some really good quality content from them coming up. But one thing that has done very well, I think we can all agree, that has done extremely well recently, has been the Star Wars TV shows. Not all of them. Not all of them. Obviously. But the ones that are good, they're extremely good. So the main topic we're going to talk about is obviously Andor, as you guys see on the title. We had our finale last week. What do you guys think of Andor, the series? Or we'll start with you, Green Turn.
Me? I thought the majority of the show I didn't enjoy it. I think I enjoyed the last 4 episodes or 3 episodes. From the jail onward, I enjoyed. But everything before that, it was too Star Wars-y for me. But yeah, the prison, it was cool to see like a actual penitentiary, kind of prison in the Star Wars universe, because we always see like the crudely made prisons where it's just like cells or people being frozen in carbonite or whatever. But now we actually got to see what the normal human would have to deal with in space, with like the hot floors and everything.
A normal,
and then I also enjoyed Imperial. The other part. Imperial, you're right.
Imperial. Spoilers, by the way, for anybody listening. If you haven't watched Andor and you don't want anything spoiled, probably tune out. If you don't care, obviously we're going to talk about spoilers. What do you think about it, Dark Side?
I actually loved it. I think it's the best. It's better than Mando for me, because I think that this series, it feels like an adult Star Wars series. Like if it's the first one that I felt that kind of steps away from the pop popcorn nature of Star Wars, and like narrows in on, we talk about the politics being boring in the prequels. Yeah, but there's an idea behind the politics that was interesting, and I think Andor does a real good job of kind of fleshing out the intrigue and the espionage aspect of the games people are playing within, like hiding within the Empire, trying to bring it down. So I loved everything about this setting, the structure, the way it was shot. I mean, dude, when I say I love this series, I love the series right down to all the supporting cast. Stellan Skarsgård is so good in this series. So yeah, no, I absolutely am polar opposite. I love the structure. Really, I thought after the heist storyline, the fact that they pivoted to a part 2 in the season and basically had a prison storyline, and it's like the structure is so interesting. You could have done 2 parts, you could have cut this up into 2 seasons, but it just kept coming at you and it kept being interesting, and I really truly enjoyed a lot of what was presented.
Yeah, I have to agree with both of you, honestly. I can understand what Green Tuner was saying. Like it's definitely a slow burn at the beginning with Andor, especially this is a character, it's not Skywalker, it's not Palpatine, it's not Lando, it's not a Solo, it's Cassian Andor, who we briefly got a look at in one movie. And well, not briefly, he was one of the main characters in Rogue One. But yeah, it was a slow burn to get to know who Cassian is outside of just Rogue One and being a general for the rebel army. Or the Rebel Federation.
And he's far interesting than you thought. Like his character from Rogue One was.
Yeah, and his character,
they're doing a good job of, opening him up as a character.
Yeah, and Rogue One, I thought he was interesting as well. I mean, but like you only have like a Rogue One is only like a 2-hour movie, so you only get a certain amount of screen time with this character. Which at the end of the movie, I did enjoy him as a character. But yeah, this is definitely a slow burn at first, setting up the character, setting up his backstory, his motivation, and so forth. Setting up the world building. With Ferrix, new world that I don't think has ever been really shown. Star Wars, not that I can remember. No. So like a lot of world building, but then you had the same people. You still have the Empire, with the ISP, like setting them up and so forth. So we get to see more of. The inner workings of the Empire, and it takes a little while to build up for sure. After the heist, or right before the heist actually kicks off, definitely slow. And I can understand Green Tuner just like, yeah, this is kind of boring. But yeah, once it gets past the heist, it's kind of all gas, no break. And you go straight into like what Darkseid says. You go straight into the prison segment, which they could have 100%, and we've seen this before with just regular any TV show. They could stretch out that prison sequence for a whole season by itself. They could have did the heist a whole season by itself. But the fact that they limited it to 5, maybe 4 episodes of the prison stuff and got straight to the point. I absolutely loved it, and I just love the dynamic of like Skarsgård. I mean, his speech when he was on that
monologue,
it gave me chills. It gave me kind of chills because it's like this dude, like he's like, when the informant is like, hey, what have you given up? He's like, I've given up everything. He looks like he's all put together, like he has the secret life, but he's literally given up everything to fight the Empire. And that was such a great speech, because like in past Star Wars, we just see people be like, I'm fighting the Empire because they're bad, and I'm not really sacrificing anything. I'm just fighting them because I feel like that's the right thing to do. Like this guy is like really like, I've given up everything. I'm willing to give up anybody. I'm willing to do anything. Like threaten that guy's daughter. Like, how's your daughter doing? He's willing to do anything to fight this evil to a point where he's able to be evil himself, where he's given up, separatist leaders to pretty much be slaughtered. When he's talking to what's his name? He gives up
Saul Guerrero.
Yeah, Saul Guerrero. He's like,
Saul Guerrero,
yeah, he's like, hey, we give up Krieger.
Yeah.
It's 30 bites to the cause. Yeah. Guerrero's like 30 bites to the cause. And it's like that's the shit. You don't need Skywalker. You don't need Jedi.
It's not a clean rebellion, and I like how they're showing that it's not. It was never a clean. Like we got on board with the rebellion when it was pretty state, like it was organized and clean. To the point where you have like these what is the word, like lawfully good characters involved. You don't have these mixed gray characters, but the mixed gray characters facilitated. There's a great line in that monologue where he says something about like he'll something about light. He'll never see the light of the sunrise that he's creating. You know what I mean? Like, and he's like he's accepted his position in the order of things. Like he is that volatile. No one will sing his praises. No one will remember his name. Yep. He's accepted what his necessary position is in order to get this thing moving. And every like version of him that could ask for redemption or being able to walk away from this is gone. That life is gone from him. Yeah. But yeah, that monologue like lays out the sad situation of his life so well. But it made it real. It made like Star Wars, the whole Civil War of Star Wars into a very real and like it contextualized all of these characters that we've thought about, like Mon Mothma or like Bail Organa and like all these like senators, and we've seen the prequels and we have toys of them and everything. Mm-hmm. It's like, man, these people like went through some, especially in light of we were just talking about Iran and we're talking about like states just like brutalizing their populations and everything. This is like a dose of reality that in Star Wars that it was, I think, sorely needed, just to change things up to make it interesting. Because we just came off like Mando's great. I love Mando, but I think Mando represents more of the popcorn fun of Star Wars, and Boba Fett was just not. It didn't hit that. It aimed for the nostalgia, and it was not interesting. And this is a show that's completely different and trying to do something completely different. So if the future of Star Wars is more, hey, let's do something not dependent on existing characters and just take Star Wars in different directions, I think I can be excited for Star Wars going forward if this is the future.
Yeah, no, I agree 1,010%. I feel like this is the Star Wars. This is kind of a meme at this point. I like dark stories. It's kind of a meme at this point. I like the dark stories, and this is what this was, as you said. This is a rebellion that is built on the bodies of good people, innocent people, and they're trying to fight an evil, which is the Empire. Which we can always get into the evil of like Palpatine, right? Obviously he's just a straight evil person. He sits there like, oh, I'm here for the freedom of people and I want people to live a peaceful life, but what he just wants is power. Removing him from the side because he's the conical bad
cartoonish
guy.
Evil.
Cartoonish evil.
Yeah.
But then you have like the ISB where they're just doing their job. You have these people who are just literally,
that's the scariest thing of all.
Yeah,
these people are just furthering the mundaneness of their job is to further suffering, and they see it as just life.
Yeah, they're like, oh, they're against the Empire. This is, if you're against the Empire, you're against me. This is my life. And these people, but some of these people have, as I forgot, I mean, I'm really bad with the names, but the main guy who gets fired and he's still trying to fight.
I forgot his name too.
But he is all about truth and justice. He thinks like, hey, the Empire's law, that is the justice of the world.
Yeah.
And like removing Jedi and all this other bullshit, he truly thinks the Empire is good. If the Empire is adding lawfulness to the universe. So it's kind of like, or to the galaxy. And it's crazy that there are people that are like this, but they do it in such a way that you can kind of sympathize. I sympathize.
Yeah,
with
you
him.
don't. Yeah, that's the other thing I was going to say. Like, this flips your heroes into a very darker, gray area where they're like, okay, like we just talked about Stellan Skarsgård sacrificing 30 people for the greater good, and it flips your Imperial characters into a positive light. I forgot her name too, the ISB investigator, and I like her as a character. I like her drive. I like her, like you're rooting for her in like when she's among her peers and they're kind of screwing her over, and you're happy when she does well. You know what I mean? So, and Empire is interesting. Like the inner workings of the Empire are interesting as hell, and this show is showing you that. Like we just watched a guy like basically working an office job in the Empire, and I was like, wow, this is still interesting as hell.
Yeah, like I was rooting for him to actually catch or get close to Cassian at one point.
Yeah.
I know at the end of the finale he saves the Ed Underground is in the chat. Cyril Karn. Yeah, Cyril Karn. Like he saves her at the end. She's about to get pretty much murked by the people of Ferrix during the rebellion.
Ed Underground's trying really hard to convince us he actually watched this show. Yeah, right. Not buying it. Not buying it, Underground. Nice 100%, job.
100% Googling all of this.
100%. 100%. You know, IGN articles on like overdrive right now. Like
right now, he has three computers. Like, dude.
San Francisco IGN offices, like they're trying to figure out why they're overheating their servers right now. What the hell's going on over there?
Why is there like 60 web pages open to IGN for one IP address? Holy shit! Like, is he the one? But no, it's yeah, you know, I was rooting for her, absolutely. And you root for kind of both sides, because I like the fact that Cassian is not just necessarily looked at like, hey, he's the pragmatic, you know, good guy who's just always there saving the day, and you know, no moral, you know, the moral compass for him is always on the side of justice. Like, dude was like murking people left and right just to save his tail, and I love that about him. Because like you said, the rebellion is not a clean rebellion. Now, the Empire in general, like granted, the Empire in general is evil. That's a given. We know that for a fact. But the fact that you see innocent people possibly dying, even the beginning of Andor, where Cassian kills his informant friend.
Yeah, the informant.
Yeah, he kills him like, you know, the guy's like, "Oh, we're not gonna make it." I'm so
he knows.
Yeah,
he can be taken.
Yeah, he kills him just like in cold blood. And it's just like, I like that. Like, give me more of that. Give me the more of the moral gray. Like, we've had the original Star Wars. We've had the comical prequels, and then the whatever sequels. Like, make Star Wars mature. And I think now at a point, like Mando's good. Like Mando is a mature Star Wars for sure. Book of Boba, hot trash. It was a throwaway. But Mando, I think, is going to the level of maturity. Same thing with Rogue One. I think Rogue One is a mature storytelling of Star Wars. Now with Andor, we're getting more of that maturity where it's no longer, we don't have to worry about the Jedi and the forces with you. Let's hear about the grassroots rebellion and what the crazy shit they had to do to get to that point of, you know, like even in Rogue One, Cassian somebody, he's had to kill people and so forth. Like, I like that about him. Like the fact that he's willing to do whatever he needs to do for the rebellion. And just like with Skarsgård, he's willing to set a foundation of bodies that will never be talked about. People will never know who they are, including himself, will be the skeletons that will set the foundation for the Federation to actually rise and the Republic to actually be reinstituted. I loved it. I absolutely loved it. I think Andor, I applaud Disney for this. But this was kind of makes me scared about it at the same time. Is that Star Wars, like the viewership for the show was actually pretty low comparatively to other Star Wars series. Specifically, it's all about Mando. And it kind of scares me that the good shows like this are being disregarded just because of the reputation of the sequels. And I think maybe people are just, because people weren't really a huge fan of Rogue One, either.
Yeah, I found that
Yeah,
like
which I found weird.
Yeah.
we're big fans and we've talked about it a lot. And but
Mm.
yeah, there's this stigma for some reason that Rogue One has that people don't like, and I found it. I mean, talking about Andor, like you said, it came out of the gate amid a lot of like Star Wars and Disney hate, right? Like, I mean, She-Hulk, Andor. So like the fandom, the online fandom, the ad undergrounds out there were like they're ready to poo-poo anything that comes out of Disney here. And I found it interesting that when Andor came out, it like you said, it has low um ratings, not ratings, but like
Viewership.
viewership. The viewership's low. It's not as dynamic as other shows. So I mean, they celebrate that. You know what I mean? Like they're like, oh, okay, Disney's failing. Look, they're making. And then as Andor progresses and people are like loving the show, that all that has gone away. And now if you look at the same voices on YouTube out there and on Reddit, they're all like, oh, more of this, Disney, more of this, less of, like it's completely like, where were you guys when the show premiered? Where you were like, oh, this is why Disney sucks and it's failing, like, oh, now it's like, oh yeah, so I just find it interesting that some of these voices are just like they'll spin around so quickly on when Disney does something good. But about the viewership, I really feel like this show, this show reminds me of think of the first season of Breaking Bad or something. Like I think it'll premiere to a smaller community. I know, I have a feeling that it's going to build a lot of word of mouth, and it's going to like slow burn grow like over time. Like a lot of these like memorable shows in the last few years that have done that built their viewership. I feel like Andor can do that, and be like a bigger piece of the Disney Plus package.
Yeah.
So
I hope so too. I kind of look at it like, the same thing that you said. It's the Game of Thrones. Like Game of Thrones when it first premiered, people were, I mean, it was high viewership, but nowhere as near as it was when it ended. Same thing like you said with Breaking Bad. Breaking Bad, nobody really cared about Breaking Bad. Oh, it's just this new show on AMC. Not a big deal. And then boom, it's one of the most talked about, one of the most popular shows to date. Still has one of the highest viewing records in cable TV history. Um, so and still popular to this day. So I really hope that Andor becomes a bigger staple for the Star Wars franchise than it has been. And I hope that in the future, and this is another topic I want to bring up later. I asked this in the chat earlier in our private chat. Had anybody read the Vader comics? I feel like there's a lot of good material out there in the Star Wars universe. It's just you need somebody who's brave enough. Disney. This is kind of a call to action for Disney. Someone being Disney, being brave enough to break away from the happy-go-lucky, easy stories to tell. The easy Skywalker, easy Jedi, Ahsoka series, Mandalorian series, getting away from this whole Jedi thing and be able to do things that, I mean, even though what I'm saying about the Vader, they incorporated or they adapted the Vader comics into a live action show. This
They did.
No, I'm saying no. That's what I'm saying. This is kind of the call to action. That I just said, oh, get away from the Jedi stuff, but then boom, I'm talking about like, hey, make the Vader comics into a live action show. But this is the dark stuff, like the real world, or not the real world, the real world building of the Star Wars story in general, whether it's a Skywalker saga. I mean, because it's still dealing technically with the Skywalker saga. This could be so much more, and it could be so great. Where, like, I was talking to my brother-in-law recently about this, and I think it's pretty unanimous. Everybody thinks like the original Star Wars is really good, right? Everybody's like the original Star Wars is damn near perfect, which I can understand for the time is perfect, but the story is still, there's definitely a story that's lacking. There's a story that could be told outside of that. Like while the original concept of Star Wars was very limited to those, 3 movies, and I know George Lucas probably never considered that Star Wars would be ever to this level, but there's a lot of story building that can be done, world building that can be done, and there's a lot of great media that's already out there that can be adapted. It just needs a brave studio, Disney, to go ahead and greenlight some of these more darker, gritty, realistic stories that can be told. Now, do I want all bloodshed and gore? Of course, like we were talking about with Superman. Superman's supposed to be the shining light. No, it doesn't have to be all bloodshed and gore. Absolutely not. But the reality of a rebellion not being a, we're the good guys, rah rah rah. We don't ever cross the line, or I'm marrying my daughter off to a thug because I am giving money to the rebellion.
That's another another aspect of they sneak it. There's nothing clean about that. About any character. Everyone's got dirt on their hands and everyone's doing things they don't want to do. So they get into every aspect of that show.
Everybody's dirty. Yeah, everybody's dirty, and I mean, you see like people being radicalized against the Empire. Like that kid threw the bomb. Threw the bomb. He created a bomb.
Built the bomb.
Yeah, his father got killed. His father got killed by the Empire. And dude built a bomb. And I mean, if you were gonna profile anybody, I'll be like,
I profiled that kid right away. He looks the part.
Yeah, he looks the part. He looks the part.
Definitely does.
I like it. And then he do have the obvious bomb that was ticking in his satchel. He's like beep beep. And you see the Imperial guards like, wait a minute, wait a minute, it's not a clock.
When that kid stuck his hand in there, I was waiting for like the movie that they always put when they put like a Middle Eastern place where it's like a call to prayer or something in the back. Because he's like putting his hand into the bag.
You're such an asshole. You realize this is a galaxy far, far away, right? This is not this is not
you know what they did.
I mean, we know what
he basically grabbed like the equivalent of a pressure cooker and put it in his backpack.
He did.
All right.
But it makes sense though. Like, I mean, the cool thing is they didn't go into too much detail about it. Like, they didn't be like,
should have just had like the little letters at the bottom. What? Like, what's the planet that
Ferrix?
Ferrix. It's like Ferrix. Like you see each letter typed out like in a typer.
Yeah.
Ferrix, whatever.
It's like you're an asshole. You're an asshole. But no, it was cool that they didn't go into detail. Be like, hey, his father was just tortured and killed, and that's why he's doing it. It just kind of, that last episode just kind of really played off emotions, and all these people are trying to look for everybody's looking for Cassian. Literally everybody's there for Cassian.
Everybody is for Cassian.
Cassian is there for his mother. But it was so awesome to see all these different agendas coming forward.
converging together.
Like
very
crazy.
Very satisfying finale. Just the way they like set up that finale episode where all these interests are converging together and for different purposes, but finally, they found a great way to bring them all together.
Yeah,
I was just waiting for Andy Serkis to show up in the
I
made it.
I can swim.
He's so wet. I learned to swim.
I learned to swim. I can't swim. I was like, but that was,
that was such a
good scene, and that was such that was a
great scene.
That was a fucking like knife turn, in the chest, because it's like this dude went from I have only 20 more cycles left and I'm out of here, and then to how many guards? 4 guards, and then breaking out, shooting the guards, and then right at freedom realizes he didn't realize, which is kind of blows my mind. How did he not know coming in that it was surrounded by water, which is crazy to me. But
everyone came in the same way.
Yeah, they can see outside their windows.
Yeah,
unless maybe like you're so enveloped with freedom that you don't realize it till that moment. Like, oh shit, I can't swim.
Yeah, so
but like you're so wrapped in freedom.
Yeah, he finally got freedom, not only to realize that he's gonna die either way. Either he jumps or he's gonna stay in the Empire. Is eventually gonna send enough guards. He's gonna die.
I guess that was their thing, though. They were trying to at least die free men. Well, because they did allude to the fact that a lot of prisoners died.
Yeah,
or didn't make it out of the water. Show. Yeah, tip of the hat to the show for like, again, you could have made it so that, hey, everybody made it. We're all on the beach.
Yeah.
Again, it was just like that like the moment in Saving Private Ryan when the door opens and it's just like and just heads are exploding in front of you. Like, I mean, you might not make it. It's one of those moments where it's like Andy Serkis, the last scene you see of him is like he's like, I can't swim, and Andor is pushed into the water. That's it. We never see him again.
Yeah.
What a realistic, dark, like he's a character they make you like, they make you invested, gone.
And
so interesting.
And it's not, and the thing is, they don't give him a proper send-off. And I think that's what the great thing about it is that, that gives Andor even more. I think it makes his case even that much greater, that he's been helped by people who obviously are being wronged by the Empire. And still at the end of the day, they will die. They've been such like comrades to him. And in reality, we don't know how long Andor has been there, because they do the kind of like a time jump thing. So I don't think Andor wasn't there for.
I think they do mention, because how long he's been gone on Ferrix. Someone mentions how long he's been missing.
Oh, I didn't realize that. I feel like it was a couple months, but
I think it amounts to a few. Like they mentioned a certain amount of weeks, which amounts to a few months. Okay. I don't remember.
Yeah, I don't remember the exact amount. So, but it's just cool that they didn't give it no payoff. Like you didn't see Andy Serkis like he falls into the water, he gets shot on the way down or something like that. You don't know what happens to him. That's just
I know we're gonna talk about I don't know how much we'll talk about Rogue One, but I watched Rogue One after I finished Andor, the finale, and there's like, obviously I was looking for certain things from Andor the show, and there are one or two things that I liked, and there's one line where they're imprisoned in Saw Gerrera's base, and one of the guys say like, this place sucks, and he says like, I've been to worse prisons. I thought like that contextualizes, after seeing the show, that was a throwaway line. Like, oh, it's just badass, but man, like we've literally seen this guy go to worse prisons.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So it occurred to me while you're talking about the prison.
Yeah. So Green Tuner, you've been relatively quiet about the show so far. What would you find is to be your favorite aspect of Andor?
I think like Darkseid said, just storytelling. I like when they do new things. That's why I didn't really enjoy the heist that much, because I've seen heists before.
Sure.
In Star Wars, obviously not like this, but I've seen them before. But the fresh idea of, like we said, like having the prison, we've seen revolts, but at least like the collateral damage that you get from a rebellion and things like that.
Yeah.
That's why I enjoyed the show. That's why I said like the first part of the show I wasn't really too much into, and then the second part I liked much more. I wish we had more concepts like the prison. I want to see more stories like that. Like,
what do you mean?
Grab like weird, like, because it's it's a galaxy, right? So you have everything to pick from. We hadn't seen a prison with inmates like the one that we saw in Andor.
This is not a prison, by the way. We keep calling it a prison. This is a death camp.
Yeah.
Okay, death camp. Fine.
Yeah.
Death camp. Okay. Well, okay, death camp.
Yeah, they're not getting out of there.
They were. I know they weren't, but they were sold on the idea that it was, like
a prison.
Or something.
Yeah. But again, another like grim reality of real war.
Another grim reality. Seeing things like that, I would enjoy more. It doesn't have to. Just something new and fresh like we got.
I mean, it was literally a slave. It was a slave camp, because I don't know if you guys watched at the stinger at the end of the finale.
I like that.
You didn't see it?
No.
Oh, so the stinger is that those units that they were building. They were like, we don't know what these parts are for, but they obviously need a lot of them. It was actually the panel for the Death Star. So they were building like the
So
connecting joints. So you see in the Stinger,
Oh.
you see all the robots. You see
Yeah.
you see the Death Star like being being deconstructed, or you see it in a
Yeah.
deconstructed state, and you see the
Yeah.
main cannon that shoots out, the lasers that shoot out. They were
Yeah.
using those parts to connect the solar or the panels together for the death
Oh,
ray
okay.
of the Death Star. So that was the whole thing. And it's just like, damn, they're literally slave labor to build the
to
Death
build
Star.
that. Yeah.
Mhm.
So that was
Again another interesting shade in like a layer added in here that you like to the overall Star Wars narrative we've always had, just adding more interesting stuff into it. Like you said, showing stuff that's new. I think Great Junior said it well. That's what I think the show does really well.
Yeah, I mean,
I think that's what I enjoyed. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Oh, I think that's what I enjoyed about the main titles. The second movie, the most of the newer Star Wars movies, because it was dipping its toe into those concepts, which is what I think people hated.
The
where
Last
they
Jedi?
showed like, Last Jedi,
Yeah,
where they
Last
showed
Jedi.
like the fact that the weapon sellers were selling to both the Alliance and the Rebels and the Empire,
right?
Yeah,
and like all this other like things that just made more sense.
but I think it's I think that, like you said, that aspect is really interesting, but I think in the context of that movie it did not come off well because the narrative was so convoluted that it feels like you're throwing in a message into a movie that's like you're already like, you don't have a good movie here. Like, I mean, you have a good movie, but you have like a really mixed message of a movie, and you're throwing in like a political, essentially a narrative, an agenda basically. And I think in the proper context, like that in Andor, amazing, right?
Yeah.
But like that in The Last Jedi, it just felt like, why we get like same like how you felt about politics and prequels. You know what I mean? Like people were like, stop showing us politics. Politics can be super interesting in the proper context. But
it could be, yeah. But if it were between that and like the Senate hearings of the prequels, I'd much rather see the hammy messages than having to sit through the damn, Senate debates again.
I don't know, man. I'm down for a political Star Wars show because I love like The West Wing. I don't know if you guys ever watched The West Wing. I love that show. There's a lot of political shows that are like on the surface are like, this can't be interesting. Man, are they interesting as hell? So I could see like
trying to say that the prequel Senate scenes were as gripping as The West Wing.
The West Wing is a million times more interesting than the Senator Amidala calling for sanctions on the Trade Federation. But
and then she did the most monotone voice. I need sanctions. And it's like,
stop this rebellion.
Yeah.
Like
and you have all the people, boo, boo. No, I see. The thing is, I have to agree. The politics can be very, very good. I think the politics in the prequel were kind of overshadowed by just some bad acting and focusing a lot on the Jedi. But the fact that like if you had a good politic, it doesn't have to be. I don't want a political show. I don't want the Star Wars, the West Wing, the Senate Council. Yeah, you do.
Eventually, it will happen.
Yeah,
but
the thing they're gonna have to like run the well dry of using Jedis. So they're gonna eventually do like the politics side.
Like if there's one thing that Star Wars can take away from this, and we just all kind of said it, is look for the new avenues of stories you can tell in the Star Wars universe. I was just thinking like Imperial
would be good.
Imperial stuff.
Wookiees.
No fucking
Wookies.
Wookie.
And I'm talking about the little Wookiees, not the big Wookiees, not Chewbacca.
You talking about the Ewoks?
The ones that are cannibalistic, but for some reason they didn't
eat
the other guys.
Ewoks.
Ewoks. Oh, sorry, Ewoks. Yeah. That's what
you know. What I want? I want an
Ewok
cop show on with Ewoks, just like their life.
Oh no! Yeah, no. One is an Ewok, the other one's a Wookiee. Yeah, partners that shouldn't be together.
Do you know that actually Ewoks and Wookiees are actually cousins? So that would actually make a lot of sense.
There you go.
That would be pretty awesome. And then
the lethal weapon of Star Wars.
Yeah. It was a
Wookiee Cop PD.
What was the Jawoks?
The Wookiee is the crazy off the rails guy.
Yeah, Mel Gibson, man, get him in there.
Old guy that has been in the force for too long.
Yeah, I want the Ewok to be the Murtaugh for sure. Like he's too old. He's too old for that shit.
Yeah. He is like 209. Like if you have like Chewie or something like that, Chewie is like 300 damn years old. Yeah, like I'm too old for this shit. Or what was the Jawa? What's they called? The
Jawas?
The little Jawas? Yeah, Jawas.
Jawas, yeah. That would be
Which one are those ones?
They're the little they wear the hoods and they have the glowing eyes in the dark and then the scavengers.
Yeah, those
American pickers with the Jawas.
Yeah, those.
Come on,
that's
awesome. All there, Disney.
That would actually be fucking amazing.
American pickers, they could do that. What is that? The storage container wars.
Storage wars. Yes, yes, they would be fucking awesome.
Jawas.
Yeah, that would be hilarious.
One of the Jawas
Disney,
has like a catchphrase.
What you said? What?
One of the little Jawas has like a catchphrase. Doesn't a guy in the
there was a guy on Star Wars that had a catchphrase.
Like get her done or something. I forget.
Yeah,
get her done. Yeah. There was that was Jeff Bridges, but there was a guy that was there was a guy that was yep. He would just be
when they were bidding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be hilarious. See, the thing is, the politics. What I'm saying is like when you get out of like if you actually had a sensible story of the Sith actually, because
they need to visit the Sith.
What's it
like in depth?
Sith what's his name? What was Sidious's teacher?
Plagueis.
There we go. Plagueis, because Plagueis is the one that got him on the council. So to actually like go through and have Plagueis like see who Plagueis was, because Plagueis the Wise, he was extremely smart. I would love have a Star Wars where they show him Sidious, him getting Sidious on the council, him Sidious eventually killing Plagueis, and then the kind of the backward manipulation of the Senate. I think that would be kind of cool. Now, granted, it's not going to have like lightsabers and all this like, crazy lightsaber, or maybe it will. But
I think
that'd be kind of cool.
They should stay the hell away from established characters. Like, I mean, I know Plagueis we have not seen, but like, and I agree with you. That could be interesting, but I think that what Andor kind of like does is take characters that are either like I don't know, Green Tuner is Lobot in his background, the best character ever. So like, I mean, you can show me Cloud City, how that functions. I mean, Lando Calrissian's running a Cloud City, basically under the Empire's thumb. How interesting could that be on a day-to-day level? That could be really interesting. Show us that.
What about
crap?
Like I said, a Sith show.
Well, that's the thing.
Or just something more. I want to learn about the Sith, the old Sith.
I definitely feel you're going to get Sith, and I feel like what they're going to do is they're going to soften the Sith.
Of course.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, like I would like to go back to like the ancient Sith before when they did the
ancient
rule,
Sith,
like,
exactly.
When they established the rule of two. Maybe the Sith Jedi War. The ancient war. I mean that would be cool.
There is a show coming called The Acolyte, and I think doesn't that take place like thousands of years in the past? There's a show. The casting is done and it's shooting right now. It's called The Acolyte. Yeah, Star Wars The Acolyte. Look that up. It takes place like really, really far back into the past of Star Wars. But it has to do with Jedis, I believe.
I do remember that this is coming out. Yep. This is going back 132 BBY. I don't know where that is in Star Wars.
Before Battle of Yavin, so it's like 132 years before A New Hope.
Okay, so yeah, then
nerd.
What a nerd.
It's sad that I know
132 years before the War of Caligula or whatever.
So no, that would be kind of cool. I think the Sith, the established characters definitely are a scary thing. The one thing, so I think we all. Before we jump into talking about that, do you guys want to give a quick score for Andor, and then we can jump into
the show?
yeah, and then we can talk about kind of like Rogue One and what we want from Star Wars. Because I kind of want to talk about the Vader comics a little bit, and this kind of goes into the topic we were talking about, other storylines and not touching established characters. So yeah, so for me, I would give Andor, I would give it a 9. I think Andor was damn near perfect. It was a slow start for sure, slow burn, but the show is, I think, honestly, outshines the Mando. I think in the especially if you're gonna go season 1 to 1, I think it outshines the Mando. I think that Mando overall is better, but they've had 3 seasons to polish that up. So I think that's a win for Mando, but that's just only because you have more content to go through. But I think, yeah, a solid 9. I think this is one of the best shows by far. And I haven't gotten through all the TV shows like the Bad Batch, stuff that's highly regarded, like Star Wars animated series. But yeah, I think
that's gonna be did you ever watch any of the animated series?
No, I never really watched the animated series. I will watch
Neither
them
have I.
Sparingly. I'll watch them like randomly.
Yeah.
But everybody that I know who has watched them, they said the animated series is always, for the most part, better than live action.
Okay, no, because what I was gonna say, it seems like such a hassle to have to watch all those episodes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Of the animated series.
Yeah.
Like that's a commitment if you want to watch the.
Yeah, I wanted to watch the Bad Batch, and I was like, shit, there's a lot. I kind of just like to either watch the movies and keep it pushing, or watch like a TV show and so. But like if you had to catch up on Mando, it's kind of the same thing, as well. But I like kind of like I'm more attuned to the live action. I'd rather stick to that than having to go to the cartoons.
Yeah, but Mando is much more easier to achieve watching all the seasons than watching however many animated series episodes there are.
Oh yeah, that's true.
You know what I mean?
Very true. Very true.
So I just meant time commitment.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I give it a 9. I think, like I said, I think it's damn near perfect Star Wars show. Especially when you compare it to other Star Wars shows. But I'm not comparing to any. I just think it's a 9. Solid show. I wish more people would watch it, and I wish that more people. I agree with Darkside. I think more people will jump on the bandwagon eventually. They just need this first season to go through, but I think through word of mouth, people are going to come to like Andor, especially if they keep the cast, they keep the pacing as they did with the first season. I think it's going to be solid. So, all right, who's next? All right,
I'll go next. I'll give it 6 blurries.
6?
Okay. Yeah, 6. So, like I said, most of the show, I'm not a huge Star Wars guy, so most of the show didn't really interest me as much as from the Death Camp on.
Sure, that makes sense.
But Darkside.
Yeah, I'm also going to give it 9 because I think that it's and I was thinking about this. It is the best thing Disney has ever done with Star Wars since they've taken it over. I think it's the best direction they've taken. They've taken Star Wars forward, whereas everything else has either been the same and they do it well, or they do it poor, or they take it back a step. This is the first time I'm looking at something that they took Star Wars and they're moving it forward on the field and to a level where I'm like, okay, we're not talking about something I've seen before. This is just a direction I was not expecting, and I love. Like, there's hope in the future of this. Whereas everything else, like as much as I love Mando is a really good version of something I'm familiar with and very comfortable with.
Right.
But it's not, it didn't surprise me unexpectedly. This did. So, for that reason, I think it's a 9 for sure.
I'm happy you said that. I feel like, and I see, like, and not to discount what Green Tuner said, I definitely get why he didn't like the first half, because like it's a slow burn. But I think the slow burn.
It is absolutely a slow burn.
I think the slow burn paid off, especially at the end. Like you get it built more of a repertoire with this character.
We never really talked about one thing I wanted to mention. Lucien's ship, his escape sequence where he does where they try to pull him over.
Oh, that was cool. Yeah, they're trying to put the tractor beam.
But do you see what they're doing there? That's James Bond's Aston Martin.
Yeah.
Oh, he was in a ship that had all kinds of gadgets and oil slick, and like they're all like, how's this car, how's this ship doing? We're basically watching James Bond, and like I was watching it going, holy crap, this is a concept I've never seen in Star Wars, where this is like taking that espionage level to like what James Bond does just in Star Wars. Again, another unexpected place.
Yeah, that was actually a really badass scene. I mean, I'm not gonna. I got nervous. I'm like, are we gonna see him get captured and die before he can?
He's too cool. Yeah, like again, they're creating a character that's too cool.
Yeah, but the thing is, I think they make him so cool is going to eventually his downfall will be very interesting.
Will be interesting.
We know that he's not gonna live to see the Empire fall. So at this point, we know he's gonna probably die a crazy death. I'm looking forward to that because he is such a badass character. Espionage, 100%. He is the James Bond in the Aston Martin. Flamethrowers out the tailpipe and so forth. Definitely. I thought that was pretty cool. Ed Underground, while we're continuing talking, give us your scores. I know you're here with us in the chat, in the spirit.
He's in Force Spirit. He's with us.
Yeah, he's in the Force Spirit. He's because the Force is female, and he's definitely in the Force. So yeah, tell us your score as well.
9. Oh god, 9. Bunch of fucking suckers.
Okay, yeah, just because you can't understand the artistic direction that Andor is going in, don't be mad at us. Okay,
dude, it's so many. Like, I mean, you just mentioned artistic direction. That the last episode of the heist, where that asteroid belt is shooting through the planet, and they have to fly through it. Visually, so cool. Like, I mean, like there was, and like so many beats were interesting. And I was like, okay, I think you did it, Creamcast, where you thought the show was done at one point. Yeah. I thought the show was done at that heist point. I was like, cool, really good first season.
Yeah.
And I got up to leave, and they're like, you just got not even halfway done here.
Yeah, I thought they were done. I thought they were done at the prison. I was like, oh, we're gonna have a whole another half season of prison, and he's gonna get sodomized and. He's
now notice.
Like, I hate the Empire now.
Now notice. All that space soap. Ed Underground gave it a 9 out of 10. And I can't help but notice there isn't a strong female lead here. What do you think about that? Like, do you think there's any correlation there?
I think that there might be a correlation. But the thing is, he liked Rogue One, and that was a female lead, so. I don't think there's a.
Did he like Rogue One? Does he like Rogue One?
Yeah, he liked Rogue One. He thought that was good. He said he didn't understand why people hated it as much as they did.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure he said in the past. So overall, I think that he's fine with.
He's in the chat right now. He's trying to articulate his 9. He says, "Mandalorian still has a special place in my heart because." They brought back Luke Skywalker like I always wanted. I like the female lead in Rogue One. He's clarifying he's not a misogynist. Yep. I'm not buying it though.
Yep. I mean, fake news for sure, but
fake news for sure.
Rogue One. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Watching Andor, I watched Rogue One before watching Andor, and it gave me a much more. No, actually, I watched Rogue One. Like after like 3 or 4 episodes of
you watched it halfway through. I
loved it. I loved Rogue One from the jump. I thought it was an excellent, probably the best prequel sequel of the Star Wars, ever since the Disney.
It's the best movie they've made.
It's the best movie. This is
right.
Yeah, outside of the I don't want to touch the prequels because people get really
Disney. What Disney's made.
Yeah. So this is the best thing they've made. I think Rogue One by far.
I would say so.
Completely superior. Even the face swapping that they did of what's his name?
Tarkin.
Yeah, they did it perfect. I honestly, to be honest with you, I was like, is that? I'm like, that can't be him. So I went back and watched Empire Strikes Back. Or not. Empire Strikes Back. No, is it New Hope? When I saw New Hope, I was like, wait a minute. This motherfucker has to be like 90 years old. Like, there's no way. I'm like, it looked that good to me. That's the best thing it did. And Rogue One is such an emotional Star Wars movie. Not for like, oh, my dad, blah blah blah. Even though Mads Mikkelsen is I think he's a phenomenal actor. But it was emotional to the point like, these people are literally giving up their lives just to get the Death Star plans, to the rebel forces. And it gives it more emotional impact. Like, when we see like New Hope and Empire Strikes Back, it's kind of like campy 70s 80s type of movies. Like, hey, I'm gonna fight the bad guys, and hey, I'm gonna get put into all these dangerous situations, but I'm gonna come out scot-free. I might lose an arm, I might lose a hand, but overall I'm fine. This one is like people are legitimately dying for this, and
everyone dies.
Everyone dies. Yeah, literally
everyone
dies. And
literally everyone.
Damn. Yeah. So at the end of the movie, it's like, oh, this guy dead. Oh, the 2 monks dead.
Yep.
What's it called? The pilot that went crazy. Oh yeah, just a grenade dead. It's like die. They just kill everyone.
Robot K2SO.
Yes, the robot dies.
Yeah, everybody dies, and it's such a reality of how threatening the Empire is to the Federation, and that people are willing to die. So that's why I think Rogue One is, bar none. If I going back now is and watching it, I didn't appreciate it when I first saw it a long time ago, or when I initially saw it, and then seeing it now, it made me really appreciate like. This is like almost damn near the most perfect Star Wars movie.
You appreciated it for all the wrong things. I think at the time, I remember the last 5 minutes was what everyone wanted to talk about. The Vader sequence was like the talk of the town. Everyone talked about the Vader sequence.
Yeah.
But now, like, I mean, I totally forgot that was in the movie until we got to it this time, watching it this time. But you really appreciate how much, like, we talked about the popcorn version. The Mando's a popcorn version of Star Wars that I like. This was the popcorn version. Rogue One was the popcorn version of Andor, where they're like, I mean, there's shades of that darkness there where they killed everyone off. And then there's shades of the ideas where he kills like the informant in the beginning. So you see these characters are conflicted, or they're dealing with just like the darker parts of the decisions they have to make. And even the Rebel Alliance is unsure on whether or not to commit. You know what I mean? They're not like the Rebel Alliance. They're a group of rebels. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And in Andor, they're even more of like literally sacrificing each other, stabbing each other. I love what you're seeing here, and I know that the show and the movie are made by the same writer and director. So they clearly they have a beginning and a middle and an end, and we've seen the end. And the good thing about watching Rogue One is like I'm looking at it and I'm looking at Andor. I'm like, I didn't want to watch Rogue One. Kind of like there was part of me going like, I don't want to ruin anything they're going to show because I've forgotten certain aspects of Rogue One. But I don't think there's anything like everyone's expendable in Andor. So by the time you get there, there's so many pieces that I'm excited to see in Andor, these Rebel Alliance form, like however it forms. I'm excited to see K2SO. I forgot like the droid.
Yeah,
like
totally
we're going to see him in the show at some point, and how Andor comes to get him as his friend. And I was like, I'm excited to see him as a character again.
Yeah.
So, it kind of more whetted my appetite for Andor, like next seasons.
Yeah, I have to agree that's the one thing I really liked about Rogue One. Like, it's rare that you can see the ending of a show like yeah, you see we see the ending. We know that they're gonna get the Death Star plans up to the rebel forces after the rebel forces like we're not gonna do that. It's too risky of a mission. Finally come out there, and then these people, everybody that's their whole Rogue One squadron gets wiped out, which is funny because if it's so many things that I didn't appreciate until watching all the rest of the Star Wars, like New Hope and so forth. Like they go Rogue Two, they don't have a Rogue One. Rogue One Squadron and New Hope and Empire Strikes Back. They start from Rogue Two, and it's cool. Like these certain little small details that you don't notice until, and I might be confused. If I'm wrong, Darkside, please correct me.
I
don't think there's a Rogue One in Empire Strikes Back. They just go straight to Rogue Two. So the fact that they have the Rogue One and they immortalize these people, and they're dead now, so there's never going to be. They don't want to make another Rogue One. There's a Rogue. I
always thought it was like Rogue Squadron was like the. I don't know if they're in the movies, but they're in the I used to read when I'm like high school, X-Wing. There were X-Wing Rogue Squadron novels, and it was about this like group of pilots, and I and it's really popular among Star Wars fans. I don't know if it's from the movies though, but that's where I always thought Rogue One was a reference from that Rogue Squadron in the expanded universe.
Yeah, I think when I remember watching Empire Strikes Back recently, I remember listening to it, and I don't think they ever mentioned Rogue One. So they had Rogue Two Squadron, but they never had Rogue One Squadron.
Oh, gotcha.
So I think that's why Rogue One, how Rogue One is. There's so many little story pieces that make sense, and you take the original trilogy and you isolate that by itself, and there's so many things you could build off of it, because to be truly honest, that's not a complete story. Like that's a complete story within a snapshot of time, but there's so much before it, during it, and after it, as we've obviously seen. So watching Rogue One really made me appreciate it. This is why I say this is probably the quintessential new Star Wars film. Like this is the best Star Wars film by far. I'll say even with the prequels is better than the prequels, mainly because I'm talking just about storytelling. It's better than
Revenge yeah,
it is better than the prequels.
Actually,
yeah,
it's better than the prequels. Yeah, I would agree.
It is better than the prequels. That's not a bad statement.
Yeah, that's not. Yeah.
So I would say Rogue One is by far the quintessential of the new Star Wars films. And
can I just quickly pitch in?
Sure.
The Underground says, wouldn't Rogue One's would love to see a movie based on the Empire bringing back the Death Star. I wonder if that's been done before.
Yeah.
Recently in the last 3 movies, where the whole deal is they can
bring it back again. Maybe this time it'll be good.
It's okay. So Ed Underground says, wouldn't Rogue One's efforts be in vain because of the Empire Strikes Back? I'm confused by that. Why would that be?
What does that have to do with the Empire Strikes Back?
Yeah, I'm kind of confused about that. Please elaborate. Please explain.
Yeah, elaborate.
It's a confused boy.
Yeah, I'm confused.
You know what? Also, we haven't seen why is Saw so fucked up.
That's why
where he needs a mask to
another good thing we saw. He's got a prosthetic leg too, and
he gets fucked up. And I really thought that with Andor, that with Antov Krieger, I thought he was going to be part of that raid, and then I thought that's where he was going to get jacked up at, but
me too.
He was just like, hey.
But it does make sense where in Rogue One you see him to paranoid to the point where it's like spies everywhere.
Yeah.
But you kind of see the deception in Andor, where this is the world. This is his everyday, where you can't trust your friends.
Yeah.
So getting him there will be interesting.
Yeah, that's a very fair point. Yeah, because in Rogue One, he's super paranoid. He's willing to kill everybody who just comes to see him. And now we get to see of where that kind of builds up at, because the people that he's trusting the most or trusting are the ones that are serving. He served at Krieger, no problem. Hey, I'm just giving you options. You either die with him or just be like, hey, let the Empire feel some type of way that they know what they're doing, and blah blah blah. And it's just like, damn, that is like when you're, especially because he's such a extreme separatist, that is
he's
a crazy world.
Terrorist, pretty much.
Yeah, he's pretty much a terrorist. Yes,
yeah,
absolutely.
He is. Yeah,
he's.
Looks like the Ed Underground has. I can't explain his position.
Yeah,
so he's trying to.
I told you the boys lost.
He says, "Never mind, it's too much to explain."
Another thing that I also want to see is I want to see more of the like monks. Because they're not really Jedi, and but they are force sensitive and everything. So I'm like, I do want to see more explained on the monks. That'd be cool as hell.
I think what Ed was trying to say is that Rogue One's efforts be in vain because of the Empire Strikes Back, because they had a second Death Star that they were building. I think he talking
they were
about
simultaneously building a second Death Star.
Sorry, yeah. So I think that's what he might be saying, is that
their efforts were not in vain, because they fucking blew up a planet destroying ship that would have been used to destroy more planets.
Yeah.
Ed is stone cold. Cold.
Yeah.
He's like, the Empire having.
It's like, what's the point? Yeah. Like, so they could save billions of lives, which they did.
Yeah. Well, I think what
asshole.
But I think also what Ed is also getting confused too is that the Empire, or like after the fall of the Empire, then the First Order. The First Order had whatever that planet was called. I forgot what
Which one? I know all the planets.
You know all the planets.
I'm a nerd, so I know
the planet, the actual Star Destroyer, the Death Star planet.
Oh, from the new movies?
For the new movies, yeah.
Oh, I don't know shit about the new series.
Okay. So
you sound so confident.
How about the original stuff? Like, I mean, I'll throw the Endors and Hoths and things at you, but I don't know jack about the new series.
Yeah, what planet does Chewbacca come from?
Kashyyyk.
I think that's correct. Yeah,
that is correct.
Yeah,
Star Wars Battlefront.
Star Wars Battlefront. Saying yeah, but I don't know if it's right.
It is right. We saw the Wookiee little Yoda jumped on his the shoulder. Yeah, they had that little battle in the third movie.
Yeah,
that's Kashyyyk.
Yeah, I think he's right. But yeah, no. Yeah, so. Yeah, they were building simultaneous Death Stars, and the first Death Star they obviously blew up. The second one, they were trying to figure out they couldn't figure out what the flaw was. Yeah, they couldn't figure out the flaw was. But that one ended up getting destroyed as well.
Yeah, they just fucking flew into that thing and just blew it up.
Yeah, that one got destroyed. No problem.
Mid construction.
Yeah, and then the world planet, the world Death Star had another flaw. Yeah, had another flaw in it. But that was just because they just strapped a whole bunch of bombs.
The stupidest flaw in the world. They just blew up a whole bunch of shit on top of what was it? Just like these like hubs. They just blow up one or two of these hubs, and then just like the whole thing explodes.
Like the whole planet's gonna
eye roll.
Like
I think all these are based on like Death Star specs.
Yeah.
And they just the engineers cannot. Why do these keep things blowing up all the time?
He's like, make sure you link them all so it causes a chain reaction if they ever malfunction.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
There was not one scientist other than what's his name. The one scientist that built the original Death Star, none of them could figure out this big ass planet that there's this one thing, you blow up this one small little piece, chain reaction blows up the entire fucking planet.
It's brilliant though. Another thing from Rogue One, where like how for years when Star Wars: A New Hope was out, and one of the funny criticisms was, oh, how does an empire build a super doomsday device? And it's so easy to destroy. I love that Rogue One contextualized how like it was a flaw intentionally built into it to make it easy to destroy because it was being built under duress. The idea of that is so cool. But like, and you were talking, I think last week you talked about how, we retconning stories because over time we've developed concepts that are better. You know what I mean? So this is one of those things where that simple Death Star criticism, over time, people retconned it into something, and not even retconned it. They worked it right into the storyline and made it far more interesting.
Yeah, this is what blows my mind when people talk about the original Star Wars is perfect. It's not as in the bubble that it lies in. It is perfect. It was the perfect sci-fi.
I love those three movies.
Absolutely,
I love those three movies.
So it was a perfect story in its own bubble. And if there was nothing else past that, then whatever. But because we are able to flush it out, like I said, George Lucas had no idea that Star Wars was going to be as big as it was. The fact that it is as big as it is, and that, like Darkseid said, you can contextualize it to these, these cool little sci-fi things that George Lucas was like, oh, okay, whatever, no big deal. But later on, by other
you're
writers,
not far off.
What?
With the George Lucas, yeah, whatever,
yeah,
sure.
yeah. George Lucas,
I think that's there's a lot of stories about him, like, sure,
yeah, sure. It's like, okay, whatever.
His idea is like, I want him to be scary, make it work.
Yeah, exactly. And that's just kind of what it is. Jim Henson is coming up making these monsters, these creatures. He's just kind of like, oh, whatever. That's why there's aliens, not a big deal. But you can then contextualize it like Rogue One, where you can make it a complete story where this is why the Death Star, this massive moon of a battleship that can destroy planets, is able to be destroyed so easily by one simple bomb that, granted, you could never find in a million years, but here we are. And I think one of the coolest things about like Rogue One was we actually got to see the actual destruction of like what a Death Star can do. Like that scene where they destroy that town.
Yeah.
Fucking amazing. And like,
something so cool. I never really considered, they could probably tone down the beam and concentrate it on one target. Never really occurred to me. I always thought about like, it's a planet destroying machine.
Yeah, and then the fact that this huge ass planet, this huge ass moon of battle station can fucking go at light speed. It's like, what the fuck? Like in Rogue One, they're like, we got a massive object coming out of hyperspace. Like, this motherfucker can go in like, it's things that you don't think of like when you watch the original ones. But this, to get around, it has to be able to go at like, or you're gonna see the slow ass moon, like, here comes the Death Star.
Oh no, it will reach us in 2 million years.
Yeah, exactly. Like, oh no. But it's such a cool concept. Like, this moon can go at hyperspace, go light speed, get to where it needs to go, and then fucking blows up, and it can blow up pinpoint accurate, towns. Like,
the Death Star. Death Star had to go fast. That was the main thing. It had to go fast.
It had to go fast. It was better, faster than Sonic for sure. So yeah, I fucking loved it. Rogue One. Now that we revisited, really quick, what would you guys rate it now if you had to, with appreciation of Andor? Green Turn, did you watch Rogue One again, or did you just go off of?
That's why I even said that everyone dies at the end.
Yeah.
So quickly, I forgot how quickly they all died in a row.
Yeah, back to back. They all
died. In violent ways too.
I'm going with the Force. The Force is with me, and then just gets his ass lit up and blown up.
Pretty much.
Yeah. So, you get emotional? Do you guys get emotional in that? Like, there are parts that get you emotional?
Yeah.
Nah. When they hit the beats. Crying.
Look, I know Creamcast gets very emotional with the Star Wars franchise.
Yeah, I do.
But personally, nah, not really.
I wasn't like crying. I thought it was awesome that, Andor and the chick kind of had like that moment. Like,
a moment?
Yeah, they had that moment like, we're about to die.
Oh, yeah, that was a touching moment. Yeah, where they both realized that this is it. That's,
and then
the end of the road.
Yeah. And then the father, I like that the father, he sucked it up, like his anguish. He had to suck up, and put on a smile, like, hey, I'm so happy with everything, just because he wanted to enact his revenge. And then when he finally got to meet his daughter, and then like, hey, my Stardust, and like all that connection, I thought that was dope. That was really.
I mean, Ed, for some reason, Ed has put this statement in twice. Rogue One is the only Star Wars film where all the main characters die in one shot.
Yeah, he's been repeating a bunch of stuff.
He repeated it twice, which
it's fine. Just aware. The boys lost.
So. Well, I mean, I want to just.
He was supposed to be on the podcast, but I mean, this is what happens when you paint yourself with red. Not red, blue paint. Leaded paint. You get real confused. But yeah, no. If I had to give Rogue One, going back to watching Rogue One again, I will say I'm keeping this in the Star Wars film. So this is not like, I'm not saying like overall best film, but I would say out of the Star Wars, I would say this is 10 out of 10. perfect.
I mean, even tents are there to use them. You can use them however many times you like. You don't have to
Well, I'm contextualizing it just like for Star Wars, and like
among the Star Wars films.
Yeah, among Star Wars films.
Okay, well, how would you rate it then, just overall as a film?
As a film, I would say I would give it 8.5. 8.5, okay. 9. I wish it was maybe a slightly longer film. I think there's certain things that could have been fleshed out a little bit better.
No, I loved the pace of it. I love that.
I loved it.
I loved it. Short. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I just maybe because I'm watching Andor, I wish that we had seen more Andor a little bit more because he is a very interesting character. But yeah, I mean the pacing is overall damn near perfect. So yeah, I was like I said, 8.5, 9, easy. 8.5, 9.
Okay.
What about you guys?
I'll give it just because I keep throwing out so many 8s. I'll give it a 9.
Oh, wow, that's surprising. That's surprising. Yeah,
that is surprising.
No, I really enjoy this movie. I really do.
I don't think it's the best Star Wars movie, but I do like it a lot. It's probably on the top end of the Star Wars movies. Excuse me. 8.5 probably. It is good, but I think that there is Andor the series puts the best parts of Rogue One in a new light, and whereas Rogue One is still a great popcorn film, it is a great package, a theatrical version of Andor. I think they do a great job.
Yeah, I agree.
And it has really good characters, just like Andor has really good characters. But yeah, I think it's 8.5 to 9, kind of in that territory. Yeah. But I think they're Star Wars. When you're talking about Star Wars, I think that your best Star Wars movies are still your Empire Strikes Back, and there's
the original three are
the characters
for me. There's plot holes. They're not great or whatever, but for me personally, they're 10s.
Yeah, what they're presenting is just way better.
Yeah, well, Ed Underground gave it 8.5. Best original Disney Star Wars film. Good pacing, good.
Oh my god, he keeps saying the same thing. It's so annoying.
He says it connected well with the original series. And he said he loved the Vader scene. Everybody,
the Vader, of course, smooth brain in. Yeah,
everybody loved the Vader scene.
Hey, I loved that.
I mean, I don't lie. I loved it too.
Back in the day, I loved it.
It was fine, but out of all the scenes, I don't think it was as impactful as a lot of the other scenes from.
I agree with you on context, but like when you walked out of that theater, you're like, "Oh my god, the Vader scene!" Like everyone was talking about it.
This was the first time we had seen Vader be Vader. I think, as far as a modern day Vader, like you know, the old school Vader. We know we're like Zerum. This is like Vader, like a modern day. If you saw a modern day. Not even talking about the prequel bullshit with the doing the lightsabers behind your back. Right, exactly. But actually, a modern day lightsaber battle, like with modern choreography, cinematography.
Well, it wasn't even like lightsaber battle; it was a massacre.
It was a massacre, but I'm saying
it was just him doing more than just chopping on one dude. He was like actually like. You know, he was being menacing. He was being a genuine. It was the way it was presented in the dark. The lightsaber lights up the hallway. The fear on the guards, like, and how helpless they are. It was genuinely like a terrifying moment.
It was a horror. It was a horror scene.
It was a horror scene, and you could see him as a like major villain. Like, if this is your first, like, if the Star Wars never existed and Rogue One was the first movie you got. He would be like the standalone like thing.
Thanos.
You know,
he's like the Thanos. He seems like the Thanos level threat. Like when it comes to lightsabers and Star Wars. Yeah, like you see Vader, you're fucked. The funny thing is, this is a great segue, and then after that, I guess we can wrap it up. Was the Vader comics? So I recently read the Vader comics, and I was absolutely in love with them. No, I'm not gonna lie. I knew about the Vader comics a long time ago. Well, a few years, like they came out like 2 years ago.
You're talking about the Marvel run of Vader?
Yeah, the Marvel run of Vader. So, I, looked at Vader and I was just like, oh, okay. I heard about it. I didn't realize how impactful it was of showing Vader after, Mustafar when he lost to Obi-Wan, and kind of how he got his lightsaber, the Marvel/Disney take on lightsabers, how they were created. I think this is one of the best things that Disney has done outside of, like, when it comes to the medium of Star Wars. I think this is the best work Disney Marvel has ever done. I love the take on Star Wars. I remember how, like, the old lightsabers, people were just like, oh, they're different colored crystals, this, that, and the other, and that's fine. But to actually show, like, the evilness of the Sith, of how they make the kyber crystals bleed, they put their pain into it. The kyber crystals are living crystals. They're ripping it apart, and they put it through agony to make their lightsabers red. Such a cool concept. Showing Vader of who Vader was, because like when we see Star Wars, for the most part, Vader's always established. Vader's always like, he is the Palpatine's, the Emperor's right hand man. But reading through the comic, and you see that Vader is a nobody in the Empire. No one knows who he is, and Vader has to literally, either kill stormtroopers, because they're thinking that he's a Jedi, to him killing, Imperial officers. He's like, I'm gonna kill 5 of you randomly, because I think there's a mole.
Yeah, he has to build his reputation up from where, like, by the time he's known as, Darth Vader, where the officers are like trying to duck their heads when he walks by.
Right. Like, yeah. I think it's absolutely amazing, like, how they went about showing Vader, because we've never seen Vader in this form. Like I said, we've always known Vader as, well, the original series, Vader was more of a, I'll say, not even a pacifist, but he was just more of a kind of a, like, I'm here, like, don't talk about the Force, I'll choke you, and that's it. I'm really not killing people like that. And granted, that was just for that time in the original series, but showing him, we know him, especially with the sequels, as him being the actual terror of the galaxy. Like, people are legitimately afraid if they hear Darth Vader coming.
Yeah, it's like the hand of the Emperor. He got, like, shit done in the galaxy.
Yeah. So we've never seen him. I've never had a story told of what he was, especially in his beginning years, and how fearful he actually was. And where we see him in Rogue One, where he's literally just ripping people apart, and just cutting them in half, and all this other stuff. Well, not cutting them in half, but you get what I'm saying. Well, he's almost actually probably pretty much cutting people in half. That's what I want to see. I want to see the young Vader, where he finally finds Padme in the alternate universe. Padme gets killed again in front of him. He finally kills off Anakin, where he meets old Sith Lords, and has to confront them and pretty much kill them. I want to see the Vader that, who goes to Exegol and has to, and you can see how powerful Palpatine is. I don't think we've ever seen Palpatine, his true strength at all in this entire Star Wars franchise at all, which is crazy, how strong he is. Even though Anakin's the chosen one, we know he fulfills the prophecy, but we never see how strong Palpatine is, and how he's probably the strongest Sith to ever existed. Like, we don't get to see those things. I wish, like, when I read the comic, I'm like, fuck, like, there's so many cool ass Jedi in the world. That one master that he fights, who's supposed to be, like, known only for fighting. Such a badass, like, that could be such a badass fight scene. You see Vader getting hunted by what's his name? Who's that guy on the Death Star? What's his name again?
Tarkin?
Tarkin hunting Vader and so forth, and Vader, cashing in a debt, like, hunt me like an animal and so forth, because Tarkin is a hunter. Like, there's so many cool things. Like, if you made this into a series and made it like a dark series, like, this could be the greatest Star Wars series to date. And because it's Vader, of course, people are going to be highly, highly, highly critical of it. Like, we see people being critical of damn Lord of the Rings. I don't think they'll have shit if they did a Vader series.
But how many issues are there?
25, 26.
Oh, that's it? Yeah. Oh, okay. Right.
Isn't it? It's like 25, 26 Dark Side.
Yeah, it's yeah. I think there's actually I think there's 2 runs, so I think you probably I don't know which run. There might be a Dark Horse run too that was really good.
I see the Dark Horse one.
I know that what you're talking about, there's really good stuff in the comics. I don't think if I was like, had any hand in Disney Star Wars, I would tell them like stay the hell away from established characters, just because I feel like there's a VR game. Yeah. I feel like Vader is. I feel like Vader is teetering on Boba Fett territory, where like he's cool and like I don't need to know all this about him. Now like Boba Fett means nothing to me now. Like I mean, he doesn't mean, I don't want to say he means nothing to me. He means less to me now than he did when I was a kid. Yeah, I don't want that to happen to Darth Vader. Like I mean, just stay away from stuff. You know what I mean? Like stay away from legacy characters. They've done enough damage, and I hope they learned a lesson. And I know you're right. There are great comics. I mean, you're touching on Vader. There's great comics about all kinds of Jedi characters in the prequels that are just way better than anything ever touched on in the movies.
Right. Absolutely.
But I mean, like, I don't know how much, like, I think the damaging hand of Disney is very powerful. I feel like as their lawyer, I would say, stay the hell away from certain characters, even like when they mess around with Luke and Mando. You know what I mean? When they're bringing him into Mando.
Yeah.
It's just like, hey, you're playing with fire here. If you screw up, you're going to piss off the whole universe. I mean, and so far they've done good, but it's just like, I don't know. I'd like to see that, but I'd like to see that more. Here's what I would say. Here's what I would tell you. If you're going to tell me a story about Darth Vader, tell me it from a story of a character adjacent to all that. Don't tell me Darth Vader.
Yeah, not just straight up Darth Vader, someone that's around him. Yeah.
Sure. Tell me. So did you read the comics? There's a character called Dr. Afra, I think.
She's around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's like recruited by Darth Vader, I think, right?
Yeah, like, he recruits her. Yeah, he recruits her,
and she's like the Lara Croft Indiana Jones of Star Wars.
She is, and I think she got recruited because Darth Vader killed her predecessor. He killed her, and then he was like, "Now it's you," and she's like, "Oh shit!" But then she's like, her and Vader actually like vibe together. It's really. But crazy.
She has like these cool, like I read a little bit of hers. Does she have like two, like she has an evil version of R2D2 and C3PO that want to murder. Like there's a black version of C3PO that's just constantly trying to kill people, and a murderous version of R2D2. So they have she has an evil version of those two. So I'm just remembering stuff from the comics, but if they were to go down the road that you want them to go, and I love the road you want to go down, I just think that would be the best angle, like adjacent, so you can see that without tarnishing too much of that. You know what I mean?
No, I get what you're saying, and it's so to read the chat really quick. So Bandito Max says keep some of the mystery for sure. Pretty much don't tell too much Vader. Like we got enough Vader. We see clips of him, but maybe not entire TV series dedicated to him. But the Ed Underground commented back and said Vader isn't mysterious though, which I kind of agree. But I see your viewpoint at the end of the day that Vader is he's iconic. Leave him alone. Don't touch him. He's one of those things that if you do a great Star Wars Vader series based off the Marvel comics and you do it phenomenally, then people will love you forever. You will be like the James Gunn, like how James Gunn saved DC. You'll be the James Gunn Peacemaker, like, oh my goodness, you're the best thing ever. But if you fail that, people will lose faith in Disney 1,010%. So that's the thing. Like that Vader comic would have to be. Disney would have to shed any type of safety. It can't be safe with that type of comic because Vader in that is brutal. He's decapitating people. He's like I say, crushing people with the Force. He's breaking necks. I mean, he's killing entire towns. This is an Anakin we think that Vader, this is Anakin really trying to prove himself to Sidious. And even at one point, he didn't fight Sidious. He has a dream where he kills Sidious. Like this is that type of Vader. But yeah, I understand. It's a scary thing, and if I had to be a betting man, I would definitely not do the series because of the fact that I do not have faith in any director being able to do Vader justice. And then not even, well, I think there's directors that could do Vader justice. Is Disney. Disney is not going to let them go push the envelope as far as they need to. But
it's also exposure. It's overexposure for a character.
It is a lot of exposure, and it's not, maybe not necessary. It maybe is not necessary to do that much exposure. But I think if we had more scenes to, if we had more scenes of like Rogue One where we have Vader, like when shit needs to get done, all of a sudden you hear the, you know, and he comes in and just starts wrecking shit, like, you know, the established terror of the galaxy. That'd be kind of cool. But at the same time, like I said, we to get away from that and still get that itch scratched, let's go to like Ed was saying, let's go to the Old Republic, or let's talk about the ancient Sith Lords. Let's talk about characters that we've never seen. Let's see what I'll say Dr. Plagueis, what Darth Plagueis the Wise, what he was up to, how he recruited Sidious. There's other Dark Lords that we have, like I said, that we have never touched. How they started the whole rule of two after they lost the ancient Jedi Sith war. So I'm there's a lot of things to do. So that would be definitely a safer bet for sure. And I would like to see the evolution of the Force as it goes along as well. That's one thing I did like about the new films is that the Force as future generations was getting stronger. And I know Ed's going to be like, well, Rey was able to train without any. I do want to see what the ancient like Force users used to do, how strong they were, and when the Sith were at their most powerful, how strong they were. Instead of doing this little backdoor bullshit, like, oh yeah, I'm going to Senate and I'm actually putting the Jedi Temple underneath a Sith focus point. Like, nah, like, bitch, I'm a Sith. I kill people. What you gonna do, bitch? And then they fight it out. Like, I want to see not Darth Maul, Mace Windu come out. Another black guy with an afro, you know, with two purple lightsabers, drinking an orange soda, and just start, you know what I'm saying, whipping a pod racer and cutting bitches in half with one hand. Like, I want to see all that shit. So I think that's a safer bet. I hope we see it. We do have future series coming out with Osaka. I'm kind of curious of how that's going to play out. Osaka, which in the Vader comic was one of the Force sensitive children. I didn't realize that when reading it at first. That she was actually named as as a teaser as one of the top Force sensitive children in the registry. So we got that series coming out soon. Like Darkseid said, the Acolyte. I think that's going to be hopefully. It's gonna scratch that Sith itch.
You know, they're trying to make a Rogue Squadron movie. Remember with what's her name? The Wonder Woman director. What's her name?
Patty Jenkins.
Remember there's an announcement for it and everything.
Yeah.
And I was so hyped up for that. Just not for Patty Jenkins' version of it, but Rogue Squadron is like. I mean, I don't know if you guys saw Top Gun Maverick. I mean, that got me like, so like, oh man, that in Star Wars would be amazing. Show me like a team of like pilots. Show me what they go through. Show me like an Imperial group of pilots, what they go through.
But can we say, I mean, can we be honest? The one thing I did like about the new movies is that the X-Wing and all those different fight scenes were actually pretty damn cool. Like Poe, I know, I mean, I'm an Oscar Isaac fan for sure. I thought they were pretty cool because it showed it wasn't like, hey, I'm flying, pew pew pew, oh, they got me. Like you seeing like him like whip the shit out of an X-Wing. I'm like, yo, that's kind of dope. Like, you know, actual like aerial combat, kind of like you were saying with Top Gun. I didn't see Maverick, but seeing like Top Gun-esque type of maneuvers, I thought it was pretty cool for a Star Wars series. So yeah, if they had a Rogue Squadron series where you see the pilots of like a Rogue Squadron or whatever.
Yeah, can you imagine how like expendable they would be and how you could get the story progressing with pilots and like, you know, just like any mission, they could all be wiped out. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, I think it'd make a very interesting series.
And I think it would be too. I mean, Rogue Squadron was one of the most popular Star Wars games, wasn't it?
Yeah, the games was. Oh yeah, the N64 game was so fun.
Yeah, it was highly popular. So I could definitely see, as much as like Ed Underground saying whoever did Top Gun Maverick, give them a Star Wars Rogue Squadron script. I mean, Maverick is one of the highest grossing films of all time. I don't see why it couldn't be popular if done correctly, or why it couldn't be highly successful if done correctly. So
yeah, absolutely.
I look forward to that for sure. So I think we're all in the same consensus that Vader probably shouldn't happen. Probably should keep Vader down to cameo appearances and just killing people.
Yeah,
I mean, there's a way to do it. I hope
they're gonna use him. Don't worry, they'll keep using Vader.
Yeah, the problem is, that is the problem.
They'll keep using him. Don't worry.
Yeah. They're gonna run him into the ground. That's the problem. I know we're all afraid of it. Yeah, they're gonna run him into the ground.
That's what I am scared of. I want it done correctly. If it doesn't get done correctly, please don't do it at all. But we'll see. I mean, maybe Star Wars. This is the turning period for Star Wars. So we don't know.
Yep.
So, all right. Well, we talked about Rogue One. We talked about Andor. Talked about Yay Watch and Miller Watch and
Miller Time.
Miller Time. We covered a lot of topics today, so
all right.
Yeah, I'm pretty. I think I'm pretty talked out. Star Wars. Yeah. We sounds like some damn nerds for real. Like, oh, Star Wars. Oh. No, we're not talking about no Overwatch. You're only a person that plays Overwatch. You don't play Overwatch 2. You just play regular Overwatch with nobody that's actually playing with you. Just play against bots.
Yeah.
All right. Any last words of wisdom before we get
No. I think there's potential. Star Wars is future. So hopefully
Star Wars is the future for sure.
Yeah.
He says the future.
And that is female.
The Force is 100% female. It will always be female. And if you don't like it, you're probably a misogynist. So,
Baby.
We are the real.
We are misogynist.
Baby. Yeah. All right. Well, guys, that is episode 66 of the Blurred Podcast. You can catch us on all major platforms and catch us live on twitch.tv/the Blurred Podcast. Until next time. What we're going to talk about next time, guys? Do we know what's going to be on the agenda?
I think we got to talk about a Guardians of the Galaxy special, right?
Oh yeah, the Christmas special.
Yes, yeah.
And then I think after that we'll be all painted green or blue for our return to Pandora. I think is coming up very soon. I'm excited for that.
I think that movie is going to be a complete flop. A
lot of people are talking about that. I'm willing to take bets. I think that movie will do really good.
You think it's gonna? Do you think it's gonna do? I think
there is a undercurrent in every human being. James Cameron has tapped into some kind of gene we all have, and he knows that. He's laughing right now. Yeah, as soon as that movie comes out, you'll be drawn to the theater like sweet water. You'll need it to survive.
We'll see. I think they said this movie needs to make $800 million.
Yeah, it's obscene.
Stupid amount of money.
20 years in the making. Then it needs to make a lot of money.
Yeah, it's $800 million to be.
He built an economy just to build the movies. It's insane.
Yeah, I'm just not looking forward to it like that. This is coming from a person that loved the first Avatar, seen it 10 times. And just maybe I don't know if the magic is still there, but we'll see.
I'm ready to go back to Pandora. I mentioned it.
Yeah, trust in Cameron.
Cameron, for the most part, I don't think he's ever missed. So, at least in his recent films. But yeah, I don't think he's ever missed. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But all right, until next time, you guys, we will blur you later. And hopefully the Ed Underground this time will actually not be a bum and not be in the hospital for lead paint poisoning. So he should join us. Bitch ass. All right. See you guys.
See you.